Dashing young man.
That's right. But the 5 new players into the side, it's a really interesting equation for the Bulldogs tonight. There's certainly 5 of their better players. What are they like after a bit of a breakout of the team? It'll be very interesting.
Umpires tonight, Farmer, Roseberry and Schmidt. Outside of the captains as yet, Shannon Hearn playing his 200th game. Easton Wood is headed for the middle. Dashing defender, the captain, in place of Robert Murphy, who we saw earlier tonight. Lysette will start on the bench, and that's interesting. And Lee, it would be hard to tip the Western Bulldogs tonight on their form here. They've lost 7 straight on this ground.
Right, Easton, your call, mate. Which when you're ready. Heads is a call. And it's a head.
Yes, Dennis, the way the Eagles have been going the last few weeks, I don't know if you tip anyone against them here tonight. I mean, they've just been in outstanding form the last half of the season. And particularly, I mean, beating the Giants in Sydney, and then they beat Hawthorn here, then they beat the Crows in Adelaide. You can't get better form than that.
No, Peterbell is down on the boundary. Pete can't complain about the weather.
No, it's a beautiful evening, and the atmosphere, as you'd expect for a final, is just outstanding. And I've heard Bob Murphy and also Matty Boyd during the week talk about silence is golden. The Western Bulldogs, they need to start well, take the crowd out of the equation for as long as possible. It's a tough task, those 5 new players into their lineup. There's so many questions to be answered tonight. Andrew Gaff, what can the Western Bulldogs do to reduce his influence? Bontempelli, he's a remarkable player, unique player. Can John Giles produce 2 games in a row out of the box? So many questions, we're going to get the answers soon.
Interesting to hear Adam Simpson, Dan, before talk about Mitch Brown, who's coming to the side. They've gone tall, and he declared a short time ago that Mitch Brown's going to start forward. So they're going to try and stretch that Bulldog defence, who are going to be undersized and desperate to get the ball on the ground.
It was a strange selection, given that Jetta was the out. I mean, you've got a running player out and a taller, more key position type player in, so they've certainly gone tall. Interesting too that Lysette will start on the bench, an interchange player. Giles is in there at the moment. The opening bounce. And Roughhead is back. Picking laying it into Gap out on the wing there. That we wondered whether Picken would take a match up tonight, or maybe they've just lobbed on the win at the same time. Away we go then. The finals journey is underway. Opening bounce. Roughhead taps it down. Liberatore right into the action. On the deck. Hit hard. And the ball up.
Remarkable that he's out there, Tom Liberatore. Syndesmosis injury to the ankle, incredibly painful, and his pain threshold to get through a play is just quite extraordinary.
Jong slipped. Kicks it down towards half forward. Smith. Hunter lays it off. This is Boyd. Off the side of the boot, close to the boundary line. I think it bounced on the line. The linesman's call is throw it in.
I feel like it's going to be a real game of territory tonight. The Bulldogs across the year have been very good. Once they get inside their forward 50, applying pressure and just gaining a bit of time in forward half, they'll be super keen to get a good start in this game.
Giles in front, Roughhead manoeuvres in, backhands it down. Bontempelli quickly, was it a mark play on was the call. Hunter lines up and he misses. Now that is the chance to get things underway the right way. He got a chance, 30 metres out, straight in front, silenced the crowd a little, but that was an easy shot. He blew that one. Well, the season Hunter's had, averaging 29 possessions a game. His first tonight. Should have done better. Sounds strange. Hearn to the outer side. Darling's in front. Schofield flew over the top. Arriving quickly, Dixon hooks it back towards the middle. The mark is taken by Butler. Plays on, sweeping hand pass. McGovern, a crowd favourite. The favourite with the All-Australian selectors as well. Hutchings, nice gather. Gave it across to Butler. Hearn.
Here's Darling. Wastes no time. Goes to Schofield. He can go over the top. Long handball to Lacroix. He had to wait. Gathers the ball. Morris diving across Cripps. Here's Hill. Back to Cripps. Morris right there. Terrific tackle. Holds him up. Up it'll come.
The 4-8 forward started with an intercept mark. It was Butler back in defence, who was on his own, took an intercept mark. It'll be the thing the Bulldogs are desperate not to allow.
Giles, Prittis, Marston, that was all beautifully done. Hooked around, back towards full forward. Tough one for Hamling. Kennedy kept it alive. Easton Wood, Hamling. And now the ball in a dangerous position. They retreat and the kick out of a dangerous position. Firstly, the handball by Boyd, and then the clearing kick at wobble towards half-back Gathered by McGahern. Kicks inside 50. Boyd, ground level. Picken, this time better.
Dixon sends it out wide. Cordy pushing up, man on behind the defence. Cordy kicks it down towards the 50, and Boyd will mark right on the line. They've got to run a 2-on-1 inside the 50 now. Getting free in front, Stringer couldn't take the mark. Johannesson onto the loose ball, tackled by Prittis. Did he have it? Stringer in and out of trouble. Good tackle by Schofield, took him down. Banging away like Charlie Watts. We'll get a ball up.
That's a couple of rolled goal chances of going begging. I mean, Hunter kicks that 99 out of 100, and that was a 2-on-1. The kick was really poor, and then gave the defender a chance.
Few nerves from the Western Bulldogs. Barras is up, slaps it towards the boundary. Good spot for it. Dalhouse hooks it back across his body. They've got to deal with the bounce down there now. Shuey emerges with the football, kept his head, gave it to Shepherd. Shepherd the high one, outside the defensive 50. Committing to the pack, Morris knocked it down. Lacroix, quick kick back towards the wing. Well, he's getting plenty of the football as Biggs this season. He started well again tonight. A little 1-2 there, works it forward, got it from Hamling. Ball inside the 50, thumped away by the defence, and they get a respite.
Great start, guys, from the Western Bulldogs, obviously, but a couple of missed opportunities. I just have to say a couple of players already have slipped over. It is a little bit dewy out there.
So it was a wet day earlier, but fined up from the moment the sun came up, and it's a cool night now, but perfect night for footy. Giles again, first hands to the football. Liberatore, Stringer, all of this confidence boosting, gives it away to Roughhead. Another shot on goal for the Bulldogs, and again inaccurate, behind, but they've started very, very well.
I feel like they've controlled the play early stages of this game. Only played just over 4 minutes of game time, and there you can see it, 77% of the time has been in their forward half.
Here to reward, though. They know, like we know, they've had some gilt-edged chances. Hutchings comes out wide. Giles plays on. Prittis feeds it forward. Marston, Gaff, coming off a brilliant game a fortnight ago. Yo goes down towards half forward. Letting it bounce down there. Lacroix, well done by Morris. Smothers it out of bounds. And the thing now that would be a body punch as far as the Dogs are concerned if West Coast go down and kick a goal.
Both teams' defences have been really brave. They've left direct opponents to make sure they pushed up when there was a free player in between, which is why no one scored a goal yet.
Boyd won that one, got it back again. Picken fires the handball out now. Hunter through the middle of the ground. Long ball, Dalhouse was on. Barras goes back. Roughhead reaching over the top, takes the mark. Here's Dixon, 40 metres out, lays it off for Smith. Probably should have had the shot. Definitely should have had the shot. That's 3 behinds now for the Western Bulldogs, and it can only be classified as wasteful.
Tory Dixon is one of the most accurate kicks for goal in the game. He's kicked 80 goals, 23 since the start of last year. And you just think that was one he should have had a crack at.
Butler out of defence then. High ball. They set on the ground now. Had it knocked away. Prittis in trouble. Cleverly. Hutchings not so clever. Out of bounds on the full. Tory Dixon 5 goals in the corresponding game last season. 5 straight.
Early stages, but no doubt the Bulldogs ground level grunt at this stage is earning them the better part of the early part of the game.
Daniel, the centering ball. Dangerous fist. Barras. Gaff. Butler gets it wide. Got it again. Lysette gave it to him. Clever kick. Controlled kick by Gaff. Got it to Sheed. Runners alongside. Cripps runs himself into trouble, then out of it. And that was smothered off the boot. Well done by Suckling that time. So the Dogs doing everything right except kick goals.
Their pressure is their trademark, the Bulldogs. They are fantastic around the contest, brilliant at winning the footy, but also applying pressure. And at the moment, their pressure game's enormous.
Matthew Boyd, 4 disposals. Tough tackle on Sheed from Dalhouse. And it'll come up again. So has the moment got the better of them here, Dars, do you think, or just simple calculation errors?
Well, I think they've stood up to the moment. I think they're right in the game and they should be feeling really confident about it. Just a couple of missed shots at goal will be the only concern.
So Hunter retreating back to Hamling. He can go further back. Biggs has the footy. Inside defensive 50. His use of the ball has been good all year, as Dennis said, but that one, terrible error. And now the West Coast Eagles get exactly the opportunity that the Bulldogs will have feared. A goal at the other end.
Just popped up. It was an attacking kick. Whenever you go back towards the centre corridor from the full back line, it has to be accurate. And I suspect he didn't see Kennedy. Kennedy just drifted and taken an easy chest mark. Now got a chance to kick the long bomb.
So Josh Kennedy, another brilliant season, 80 for the year, the Coleman medalist, 249 goals at Domain Stadium. Now he's got 250.
That hurts. That really hurts.
So Biggs, who has had such a good season, makes the error coming out deep from defence, gives it straight to Kennedy. And Kennedy, although he's had his moments with set shot accuracy, the latter half of the season has been quite terrific. And well, he makes the Bulldogs pay.
Had to set up out of the back 50 though, the Bulldogs.
This kick, Lee, is interesting for the Bulldogs. That is the kick that their coach wants them to make.
Yeah,
he really does want them to attack. They haven't come here to try and make this a 0-all draw. He won't be concerned. Be concerned about the fact it was a turnover, but they will try and do that all night tonight, the Bulldogs.
Good bounce, lay set. Up early, brilliantly done as Shuey. Silver service, kicks inside the forward 50, a cramped kick. Kennedy, thought about Darling. Stumbles, Darling's in trouble. Hunter working overtime. Marston, quick kick away, over the top. Yo normally marks those, finds it on the deck, trickles across to Hutchings, tackled by McRae, taken down and a ball up.
I'm sure what happened that last centre bounce, but Josh Dunkley, he was the ruckman on that occasion against Lycett, so something's gone horribly wrong for that to be the case.
Who knows? Might be a tactic. There he is again, practicing his big punch. From set pieces, the ball goes down towards the pocket, reaching over the top. Morris did well. Sheed ran into a dead end. Kennedy snaps. Out of bounds on the full. Got some angle on that.
Well, that is the other option, Dan, is that it is a tactic. Luke Beveridge has done it before, conceded the bounce effectively and run another midfielder, Lee, so keep an eye on whether or not that's the case.
So Caleb Daniel has the footy in the back pocket. He's called to go by the umpire now. Again, a little dangerous. Liberatore, the smallest man in that contest. Darling at the front, mops up, goes back, long, strong, and makes the Bulldogs pay again. Well, two poor choices coming from deep in defence for the Bulldogs, and that really is the difference in the game. Certainly on the scoreboard at the moment. The Eagles 2 straight 12, the Bulldogs 3 behinds, peppering away with those opportunities.
As Das pointed out, though, that's what the Bulldogs have to do. They've made 2 kicking errors, it's cost them 2 goals, but they can't kick the long down the line. They've got to try and be precise out of their back 50. But now the confidence has been shattered a little.
So the couple of turnovers looking for the precise kick resulted in Eagles goals, but aside from that, they've been very competitive. Natural order restored here with Boyd in the ruck.
Fell at his feet. Liberatore knocked it. Hutchings gave a hand pass. Shuey, Schofield, Shepherd, Wellingham, time to recover. Marston goes back towards half-back. On his toes, Shepherd. Now Barras in clean air comes across the face of goal. About 40 metres out. McGovern takes the mark. Short one is on. That's a dangerous kick. Shuey has to wait. Pickin, well, he did well enough. Knocked it down in front. Shuey stayed on his feet, though. Gaff does well across half-back. That's nifty. Schofield, McGovern pushing up from full-back. Oh, not a good kick. Straight to Liberatore. Couldn't believe his luck. Goes short. Not 15. Taken by Daniel. Daniel decides to bounce one across towards Dixon. Bontempelli can't get through. He was dragged down brilliantly by McGovern. Liberatore over the top. Under a lot of the football. Under pressure. Gave it to McRae. And he pulls it back across the front of goal. And Sheed takes the mark.
Another good look. An opportunity inside 50 without a goal.
Boyd stands up this time and marks on the 50. So the kicking out from both teams hasn't been terrific. And maybe this is the pressure of finals footy, the first final for 2016.
Can he take the pressure? He's got the distance. He can kick the ball 55 metres, Tom Boyd. But he's just got to be calm enough and composed enough. Control power through the footy.
Pressure's been the word for Boyd this year. He's been under a lot of pressure. He goes short and too short to the shortest man on the ground. Daniel comes out the back, and Marston now clearing kick. Again a dangerous option. Suckling up in front. Hunter sends it back inside 50. Pickin grabbed it. third bite, and he hung on. And now his teammates urge him to go back and show some composure and finish it off.
Well, they're kicking at 35% at the moment, the Bulldogs, which is just unsustainable if you want to stay in the game. Their effort, their endeavour, their pressure's been unbelievable, but they just simply have to get one through the big sticks.
He's played in 7 finals previously as Pickett. Only a couple of goals. He's kicked 9 for the year, directly in front. We're right behind him, and there they go. The Dogs are away. They've got there first.
You eventually need to get your reward for effort. They've been really good so far. The Bulldogs, they dominated the clearances in the first 5 minutes of the game. Now the Eagles have got back into that part, but so critical to get that first goal on the board. The pressure just builds and builds and builds until finally the first one goes through.
First goal for the Dogs, and as we saw, that ball was touched, but very tough for the umpire to notice that.
You know, it's interesting, Dan, we're 13 minutes into this final. We haven't had a free kick paid yet.
What?
Unusual. I like it.
Unheard of. So the umpires letting them play. It's been enthralling stuff. Dalhouse kicks it down towards half forward. McRae goes across. Liberatore headed pretty well. McRae, the presence of mind despite the slip. Got it to Hunter. So much of the football. 7 possessions now. Long down towards full forward. Off hands to the back. Picken. Can he get his second? Can he stay composed? Lays it off. Liberatore in trouble. Dixon goes in, applies a strong tackle on Shepherd, and will get a ball up.
Zippy at ground level, aren't they, the Bulldogs? They just look that little bit quicker when the ball gets into space. Just reaction time as well as leg speed.
9 inside 50s to the Western Bulldogs, just a 5. Close to the line and into the post. Oh, that was dangerous from Stringer. That's what he's in the team to do.
Such a power athlete. Have a look. When he picks it up and explodes, the tackler's in a lot of trouble, and that was nearly a miracle.
Well, Marston was no match, and he was the happiest man on the ground to see it cannon into the bottom of the post.
Hearn to himself, drives it to the outer side. Hearn playing his 200th game tonight. Suckling over the top. Shepherd came strongly. McCrae slung. Yo. McRae did well. Biggs a very high ball, close to the boundary line.
Play on.
Still going. Smith, eventually. John. Dalhouse. Now Daniel fires it long down towards full forward. It bounces through for a goal. Well worked in tight.
Tell you what they're doing really well so far is they aren't getting outmarked. Even those high floating kicks are getting them to ground level. And as you said, Lee, they look pretty dangerous with that scrappy, awkward bouncing footy inside 50s really suiting them.
Well, it hasn't been an aerial game, has it? There's been really no strong overhead mark taken by either side at the moment. And the ground level scrap, that's the Bulldogs' chance. If they can make it a ground level game, that is where they may well have the edge.
Lee, I reckon at this stage you're exactly right. Just a bit more bite at the contest for the Bulldog players. Lockie Hunter, Dennis mentioned, and also Caleb Daniel, just a little bit cleaner around the contest at the moment.
You know, they were thrashed in the contested ball in that round 11 loss to the West Coast Eagles. The last 2 goals of the game here, and a lot of possession before the first goal was on the board. The Bulldogs could be in an even better position. Giles got it from Prittis. That's a bit unusual. Dunkley, handball, ended up with Prittis. Now Hutchings. From the wing goes long, and that's a terrific mark by Darling. Full stretch.
He's got great hands, Jack Darling.
Kicked a goal, started well. His intercept power was terrific. As are that man's. Kennedy coming one way. And Morris, terrific. Stood up, not for the first time already tonight.
A gutsy defender. For a long time, forever. Sends it up towards the wing. Knocked down in front. Dalhouse. Was he taken high? Picked up by Daniel, who's been busy. Suckling in trouble. Wriggles away. Controls the kick nicely. Handling's got it. Reassuring to hear the whistle there. They are working. Made the mark. Ball towards the centre of the ground. Dunkley's in front. Knocked away from behind. Shuey had a half chance. Dixon. Biggs raced for contact. and pays the price. Took the man on.
Once again, they were brave with that kick through the middle of the ground. It's been turned over.
Shuey, long down towards the kick-off line. Kennedy poised to mark it. Roughhead did well. Came back strongly. Mangles a fist back across the line.
So what now on the kick-in? Johannesson, the man given the job. We know the Dogs want to take it on. They can't creep into their shell. Elimination final. No point hanging back. Hamling goes long again. Well done by Stringer to keep it alive. That was really well done. Jong, the beneficiary of it. Picken taken down by Shepherd. Jong again. Kept the ball moving forward. Well done, Bulldogs. Dalhouse up towards the wing. Schofield. Dalhouse again. Superb football. Smith. Stringer. They've worked it forward to Picken. Now the long ball is on. Dixon tracking it back. Deserves a mark inside 50. And they get it. Brilliant football, Bulldogs.
They're moving it quickly, and the Eagles' defence is actually getting caught out a little bit. They're getting a bit caught in between. They've been able to run the ball through the middle of the ground and get over the top of the Eagles' defence. Not easy to do that, but a couple of times now the Bulldogs look like that's been on.
Well, they didn't retreat, and that's the most pleasing thing from a Bulldogs point of view.
Yeah, they're brave with their ball movement. It's cost them a couple of goals, but it seems to be the way they're going to play this final.
So kicking at their third here, and it'll be 3 in a row to give the West Coast Eagles a real fright at home. 30 goals this year. He's kicked 31 now, and the Bulldogs going really well. They lead by 9 points.
Such a reliable set shot kick, Tory Dixon. It's a real weapon for him since the start of last year. He's 80 goals, 23 coming into this final, which is as elite as anyone in the game. So 3 in a row is a really important start for the Bulldogs. They conceded the first 2 goals after dominating play, and now the last 3 goals gives them the 9-point lead.
Tory Dixon getting the goal. He got 50 last season. He's got 30 this season. Made his debut against the West Coast Eagles round 1 2012. His first opponent was Bo Waters. Now that's a baptism. Back in the middle.
Wow.
Bounce. That was Roughhead, but didn't take much by way of the chance. It comes across to Gaffer, kicks it down towards half forward. In front, Kennedy had it thumped away. Nice set, ridden into the ground there. Roughhead, the tackler, rolls across towards Bontempelli. He's been pretty quiet, Bontempelli. Just checking his numbers, just the 2 possessions so far. Hutchings, who did a terrific job on Mitchell a few weeks back, has that role again tonight. Lysette tries to crash his way out of there, going nowhere. Then we get a ball up. Scott Lysette, destined to play for the West Coast Eagles, born on the day they won the first premiership.
Let's go, make sure we make our
26th of the 9th, 92.
Yeah, you can see Hutchings there really putting a lot of work into Bontempelli. He's had to deal with that for most of the second part of the year, but hasn't been able to find a lot of it early.
Like a drone mark. Hutchings always keeping an eye on someone. Never normally the hard tag, but an accountability role. Terrific tackle at the back. Cordy, lucky not to be pinked for holding the ball. He went again, got the ball out to Daniel, Smith, Jong. They've worked it well from this area again. And now Dalhouse to Suckling, who sinks the left foot slipper into it down the line. Terrific mark up in front, Picken. Really good. He's providing a terrific target. And good contest again. Now he thought about going long to Dixon, just lays it up. Chance here, Liberatore! What a finish! Liber back in the team. They've kicked 4 in a row. God, the Dogs barking at Domain. 4-4, 2-1, the last 4 goals of the game, and the West Coast Eagles are flat-footed when the ball is moving through the middle of the ground.
Just at the moment, they haven't got a whole lot of height in their forward line. It's not the height of the Bulldogs that's troubling the Eagles' defence, but the medium smalls are getting on the end of those pretty much random kicks deep forward.
Almost, if you could describe the way the Bulldogs thought this would unfold, it was a ground-level goal, making sure they weren't outmarked. Kicked 3 goals in the earlier game this year when they beat the West Coast Eagles. Back after 5 weeks out. That's a big moment for Little Libber.
115 points, Roughhead knocks it down. Lysette gets a hand pass away. Hutchings didn't have the football and will get the free kick.
It's usually the Hutchings matchup on Bontempelli. I reckon when Bontempelli goes forward, they'll have a different matchup because that's where he's so hard to tap.
Here's Gaff searching kick inside the forward 50. In front, Wood. He was interfered with. He'll get the free kick. Advantage is taken. Boyd, the All-Australian, if you don't mind. Wonderful season he's had. He deserves that too. Short of the wing, the kit. Wellingham was up in front. Put us off balance. Butler did well. Gaff a half volley. Wellingham kicks inside the forward 50. They meet at the footy. And well juggled, well controlled by Lacroix. Eyes only for the football against a very good aerialist in Wood who couldn't knock it away.
He just got there a fraction late, Wood. I think he first thought is always to mark the ball, to intercept Mark. By the time he thought maybe it's a spoil, he was pretty much out of position, just slipped at the last moment.
Mark Lacroix, pretty good record against the Bulldogs, 33 goals in 12 games. Important goal for his team tonight, this one, and he's missed. Normally such a reliable kick. I think it's fair to say not as reliable at this stage of his career. That probably applies to a lot of people.
Not you, Dan. He's never kicked more than 2 goals in a final. So never productive, especially in the finals. Now Boyd to himself. Long ball. And here's another Boyd. And Roughhead drifting in from the side. Good mark. So they went longer that time. And the tall target's hitting the one spot.
He really added this to his game. Jordan Roughhead, 34 contested marks. That's the 35th for the year.
So Boyd again involved. Dalhouse has been busy. Back to Gaffey. Dropped that. Good tackle, Dalhouse. Haven't their skills been sharp in the middle of the ground?
Yeah, great pressure from Dalhouse, who prior to getting injured was just about their most important player, Dalhouse.
So here they come again. Easton Wood to McRae and Lysette. Well done. Chased him down. The advantage is paid. Handball forward, so they were going forward again through McRae. Dangerous ball. Gav. Cripps missed it. Easton Wood. Liberatore kicked the last. It was a beauty. Stringer close to the line. Handball backwards. And still in play. Stringer goes again after the foot. He left it behind. Well done, Shepherd. Got it across to Cripps. It ricochets out to Boyd. And now Daniel forward.
Interesting kick to a contest, really favoured the Eagle. This is across the line. Here's a story.
Sorry, Dan, this is the real worry. And this tackle Lysette, which was brilliant, he has got up limping badly. Came in with the knee they were worried about Lee, and he hobbles off the ground. We'll check in with Belly shortly, but that didn't look great.
Tossed in. Giles into the action. Run it down. Prittis. Gaff under pressure. This ball curls out of bounds.
Yes, there's a thought that Mitch Brown, the extra tall, was partly because Lysette has had a knee that's been causing problems, and the uncertainty how it would go through a game might have been why that selection was made.
Fairy tale for Giles. Played well against Adelaide. Laid that one down well to Shuey over the top. Sheed, wonderful tackle by Boyd. Not only that, he picked his pocket. Hand passed it across to Wood, to McRae. This is compelling stuff by the Bulldogs at the moment. McRae from half-back. Miscue slightly with the kick up towards the wing. Wonderful mark by Peckin. So Peckin, they're playing with confidence. They should be further in front. Started well. The charge back into the game after missing some opportunities. Here's Boyd. It's in good hands. Boyd drives it towards half forward. And the mark is taken by Giles. I said too much.
So up the race, Peterbell downstairs. Mitch Brown, that inclusion looking smarter by the minute.
Yeah, the insurance, Mitch Brown. Scott Lysette's gone down to the rooms as we see Jack Darling take a mark, so I'll let you know when he comes back onto the playing surface.
Thanks, Belly. So Darling plays on, second strong mark. Down in the hill direction, outnumbered. No mark, though, at the back by Hamling and taken high, Johannesson. So that just eases the pressure. Pickin, we've called his name in big marking contests a few times. He's grabbed 3 tonight already. Out wide to Hunter. It's impressive, Lee, to see them really going for it out of defence.
They are, but they've actually been good in the air too. When the ball has been long and high, the Bulldogs defence, when you think they might be under pressure, has been able to make sure that Kennedy and Darling haven't been able to mark the ball in that side, that forward 50.
Again, they take it on. Johannesson, Easton Wood, terrific.
Been keeping an eye on him, Baz. Easton Wood's limping a bit too. Came in with an ankle injury. And he looked like he was coming off the ground, Easton Wood. If you just get a look at him now, he's not moving anywhere near as freely as he normally would. So, again, we'll keep an eye on him as well.
Picken again the target there, which is interesting. Couldn't hang on to that one, but gee, they're playing well, the Western Bulldogs. They lead it by 14 points with just on 2 minutes remaining.
After the boundary throw in, Giles foxes his own ball, gave it to Shuey, who's standing a metre away, tackled by Smith. Ball up.
They're looking at Easton Wood's left ankle, it seems, which is the one that he's carried into this contest.
Hopefully he's okay. Ditto for Lysette. Gaff off the ground, close to the boundary line. A fortnight ago, Gaff on a personal best against the Crows, suckling. A little 1-2 with Dunkley, kicks across the ground. Yo gets on the end of it, and now they can break. Wellingham wants to draw a man, goes to Marston. Out wide is Hill. Will he get the ball? Yes, he will, but he's drawn a long way up the ground. So Hill down towards right half forward. Short lead offered by Lacroix. Ignores that, sets it up. Deep to the pocket. In front, Darling. Hands to it, couldn't hang on. Morris charged in. Dunkley at the back. Johannesson likes to run. He thought about it. He flirted with it. Now he gives it to Biggs. Kicks it up towards the wing. Taken nicely by Wellingham. Back towards half forward. Boyd juggles it. Took a while. Darling flung him down. That would have hurt. Ball spills wide towards a teammate there, though, as far as the Boyd player was concerned. It came across to McRae, who gave it back to Boyd. Did him no favours.
So there's the story for the Bulldogs. Is Easton Wood carried an ankle into the game. That's Gary Zimmerman, the doctor down there, just having a look. Scotty Lysette's gone off for the Eagles as well.
So here's Wellingham, back inside 50, and out to mark on his chest, Cordy. Never won an interstate final, the Bulldogs. They've never been in front at quarter time in an interstate final. Smith didn't quite wobble to Dalhouse, almost yo-hard at Picken. Oh, a couple of tough customers there. Gaff got it from Shepherd, gives it back. Now a driving ball again, inside 50. Big fly, Lacroix roving perfectly, but it takes the wrong bounce.
Been impressed with the tall Bulldogs defensive group. They, as they so often do, they don't allow one-on-one contests. So those big Eagles forwards are having to compete in pack situations, and that's suiting the Bulldogs. They're clearing it well.
Cycling to himself, runs to the pocket, takes something off the kick. Well done, gives it to McRae. Trying to bounce that one through. Wonder why they bring the ground into the equation. There's the siren for quarter time. What an interesting quarter it was. The Western Bulldogs started well, missed some chances. The Eagles got back-to-back goals, and then the Bulldogs have stormed home with the last four. Quarter time in the second elimination final, and the Bulldogs, that's right, the Bulldogs lead by 13 points.
Thursday night finals football in Perth. It's sudden death elimination finals football, Domain Stadium on a perfect night, and the Western Bulldogs reminding everybody why in the first half of the season they were not just a top 8 team but a very genuine top 4 side. They gifted the West Coast Eagles their first 2 goals, but since then the Bulldogs with 4 unanswered goals, getting a heap of the football in the middle of the ground. Dalhouse, Boyd, Daniel, all superb. And this is a real downer for the West Coast Eagles. Scott Lysette, who we know has carried a knee injury into the game, and in that tackle quite significant pain and had to hobble off. Peter Bell, has he re-emerged?
He has. He left the playing arena. He's gone to the interchange now. I'll keep an eye on everything, Baz. And, of course, Easton Wood for the Bulldogs as well. He's got that sore left ankle. What a start by the Bulldogs. They're a little bit wasteful, but you had to love the work of their mosquito fleet. Caleb Daniel, Dalhouse, Lin Yong, Lockie Hunter. They've all been good contributors.
Yeah, nice work down there, Belly. You can see Easton Wood is back out there in defence, which is a good sign. As the little man Caleb Daniel puts the helmet back on, same helmet he's had since the under-9s, Lee, so his head hasn't grown much.
At least you don't recognise him walking down the street because you only see him with his helmet on. So when his helmet's up, you hardly know what it is. But I thought their defence was fantastic, the Bulldogs, to keep the Eagles to 5 scoring shots from 15 entries. That's really good going.
If he's smart, he'll wear his helmet after a good game down the street. There's the bounce back in the middle as we start the second term. Dogs have been great value so far. Coming in off the line, trying to soccer the ball was Boyd, advanced at about 10 metres. Gaff, who's been terrific. 11 possessions. His last outing had a PB of 41 against the Crows. I mentioned that earlier. Get a ball up alongside the centre circles. Bontempelli, just 2 possessions so far. Hutchings responsible for that. But his kick smothered. Marston back to Prittis. He was tackled down. Hunter missed it. Hutchings picks it up, kicks towards half forward. Awkward bouncing ball. Sheed controlled it to the advantage of Darling. Hutchings, 3 possessions very quickly. Sends it inside the forward 50, and it's a beauty onto the chest of Kennedy.
Darling's been the forward who's looked really lively and in the game and taken a couple of really nice contested marks. A big 50-50 ball that he won. Set up this pass to Josh Kennedy.
That's only their 3rd inside 50 mark, so that's a strong part of their game normally for the Eagles. So good signs for them early in this second quarter, but certainly in the first quarter, that was the part of the game that that wasn't happening for the home team.
Kennedy's had some big days against the Dogs. 10, 8, a couple of 7s. Going at his second right here. It's bending back and hits the post. In fact, all these forwards for the West Coast Eagles, LaCroix and Darling, have all scored heavily against the Western Bulldogs in the past.
Something interesting, 2 of his 4 kicks so far have been torpedoes.
Another haircut for Matty Suckling during the week. Barras drifting in. Dixon, Bontempelli trying to get himself going. His team certainly up and going. McGovern had his name all over it.
That's the kick that they didn't do in the first quarter. Long one down the line. Now where McGovern's waiting, they're really able to be brave back through the middle of the ground, take a risk, and it paid off.
Butler to Marston and back to McGovern, and now Schofield back where it all started. Short one towards the wing and Gaff. Up to 12 disposals. Just a ball magnet. So a 3-quarter kick down the line. Giles, good mark up in front. Tallest man in the contest, and well, no fists from the Bulldogs came. Now LaCroix's up in front here. John came over the top. Defence under pressure. Liberatore, rough head. It all started with Daniel. Daniel now Suckling. Well done. Hutchings smothered that ball. Cripps, Prittis. Hutchings again. Back to Gaff.
There's Hearn, who can kick it a long way. Doesn't do that. Liberatore controlled it very well. Kicks it up towards the wing. Cordy came strongly. Shuey camped in front. Shepherd quickly away. Gaff waiting to be tackled. Bontempelli just sweating on him. And we get a ball up just forward at the wing.
Had 23 tackles in the first quarter, Bulldogs. Anything over 20 is a really good defensive effort. So they're making it hard work for the Eagles to get clear.
Liberatore tackled by Prittis. Giles got boot to ball eventually. Well done by Daniel. Smothered the attempt there by Gaff to move the ball forward. Now John got it from Dunkley. Hand pass by Stringer on the bounce to Hunter. Was he tackled high? Well done by Hutchings then. Hasn't played a free kick, and now Bontempelli is getting a free kick. Advantage is taken. Daniel hits Dixon. Hang on, it's coming back.
No, the advantage has been paid.
Okay.
They won a contest. There was a free kick to Bontempelli. Advantage was paid, and Caleb Daniel, who's an outstanding decision maker, he saw the opportunity. Here's the free kick for the tackle.
You'd like to lead to Daniel, wouldn't you? He's got a beautiful controlled kick. Just sets it out in front of Dixon, allows him to jump into the high chest mark. Beautiful kick.
Bit of a skirmish after that ball left the area, so that was why the umpire was starting across, having a bit to say. But Dixon, oblivious to all of that, comes in and kicks truly as he normally does. He's got 2. I say as he normally does. He missed a sitter to start the game, Dixon, but he is a dangerous forward. And they're kicking goals tonight, which is something we didn't expect. I mean, if it becomes a high-scoring game, we would have thought the West Coast Eagles were odds on, but the Bulldogs, as they've done all season really, just defying the odds.
5 goals, 4 from 13 inside 50 entries is fantastic efficiency in that forward 50. So that part of the game's going really well for the Dogs.
And Scotty Lysette is back out there in the centre. All eyes on whether that knee injury is going to reduce his influence.
Good on your belly. So Tory Dixon with 2-1. He kicked 5 straight, of course, in the elimination final against Adelaide last year. The Western Bulldogs have kicked the last 5 goals of this game, deleted by 18 points. Bontempelli off the ground. It wobbles towards the line. And the umpire says deliberate. Wow. Can you believe that? Well, I can't.
Well, that's quite an extraordinary call, you'd have to say, and maybe that is the template for the rest of the game, but that's a hard one to work out.
I mean, I think his intention there clearly just to get it out of the area, not necessarily to get it out of bounds. But be that as it may, forward they come again, the Western Bulldog. Biggs, who's been busy. Wellingham, though, found the footy on the ground, and there's a whistle here. West Coast way. And Pritis with the footy. Backward of half forward, so he drives it long. Not a really good kick, Boyd. Couldn't quite mark. Waiting down Hamling. Bulldogs thought he was taken high. Eagles fans thought he had it too long. Brown, Liberatore, clearing kick.
Barras has to wait, and that's a good grab under pressure. Cordy coming back on him.
I think that's St. Cordy's role tonight then, is that defensive forward role, really making sure that Barras and McGovern don't take marks in the defensive part of the ground for the Eagles.
Butler goes out wide. Here's Hearn. Short one. Lacroix. To Hearn. Just taking the sting out of things at the moment. 18 points the margin. Hearn to Shepherd. Right on the wing then. This crowd silenced. The run from the Dogs after the Eagles kicked the first 2 goals of the game off hands. In trouble down there is Morris. Tackled by Darling. Can't even attempt to get it out of there. Ball up right on the numbers.
So Tom Boyd taking a turn in the ruck now. He generally plays big minutes in the ruck for the Bulldogs. And Mark, I think as he improves, they're the ones he needs to take.
Lysette got it out. Marston to Hearn. Lysette has been brave. Well done by the big fella. He's out towards left half forward, a long way from home.
So a bit of extra strapping, it would seem, and back out there, Brown at the back. Easton Wood, here's Hill, bouncing it back towards the line, but it's a little skinny and behind, and it feels like it's been a long time since the West Coast Eagles have had a meaningful thrust forward.
It does, but having said that, they've had 11 of the last 12 inside 50s, the Eagles, so they had plenty of the footy forward half of the ground, not able to convert. Boyd,
Liberatore from the back, an unlikely flyer, and the ball just rolls off hands. So just a momentary stalemate here with the Bulldogs up by 17 points. Both just taking a bit of a breather, Lee.
They're getting plenty of numbers back and congesting the forward 50 for the Eagles, the Bulldogs, and then trying to slingshot forward. That's the way they're setting it all up.
Marston trying to thread a hand pass through. Gaff attracts a crowd. Ball up down towards right half forward.
Dan, Mark Hutchings is doing a superb job on Bontempelli. 4 possessions to the Bont as we see him go third man up.
Oh, undertaken high. Hutchings spent some time on St Kilda's rookie list. And Hunter, he started brilliantly. Apart from a couple of wayward shots at goal, sends it towards half forward. That's a good mark by the little fella. In front, Dalhouse, who's been terrific. 10 possessions in the opening term. McRae so deadly with his feet, or foot more particularly. Decidedly left-footed. There goes the kick from Dunkley, who took the mark. Down towards full forward. Well, a couple of Dogs stayed down. They could benefit off the ground. Someone needed to soccer it. Cordy, too much of a gentleman. Comes across towards Daniel. Now Dalhouse snaps a goal. Oh, the Dogs.
Well, that's a massive, massive goal. That's 6 goals in a row now for the Bulldogs in this game. And Luke Dalhouse having an enormous influence. Disposal number 12, first goal, 3 tackles. Big, big moment for that man on screen, Luke Dalhouse.
Fancy forward pressure outstanding, and Caleb Daniel just found his way to the footy in the middle of the legs. Dallas. That's where Dallas, you've got to hold your ground a little bit. Don't get sucked in too close. Keep your space. Beautiful feed out. Good goal.
A win for the little guys. They did it for Belly. 6 goals in a row for the Western Bulldogs. They are right over the top of the West Coast Eagles, and Jong sends them forward again, knocked away from Stringer, but he keeps coming. He's got eyes only for the goals. Away he goes. He wants to take him on Johannesson. Here's Daniel again in the pocket. Boyd's on the end of it. How well are they playing the Bulldogs?
That was a brilliant kick inside forward 50. The perfect kick for the way they want to play. Blaze away to the goal square. McGovern's down there. Barras is down there. Hit the leading target. Perfect play.
Just Jordan Ruffett seems to have a bit of an issue. He's not particularly happy as he's coming to the bench now.
So this is Boyd's 4th disposal of the night. He's been a good target. Some time in the ruck. 10-7 this season for a 29-point lead. It's across the face and just in for a behind, but as it is, a 4-goal spread in favour of the Western Bulldogs.
Coming back from a calf injury is Jordan Ruffett, one of the 5 inclusions tonight in this game.
Short one to the pocket, and Barras close to the boundary line. Darling reaches over the top. Arriving to crumb is Hunter. Missed the target at the head of Hamlin. On the cross, there was Suckling to assist. Close to the boundary. On the bounce, Hunter didn't have the football. And there was a free kick there, taken high. So the umpire had it for a high tackle, but he didn't take possession, just pushed it away cleverly.
You always speak in interstate games about a lull in the crowd and a bit of quietness. You just feel this home crowd are just, it's not really going the way we expected. They've kicked the last 6 goals, and an interstate team really feeds off that energy.
Gaff got it from Barras, found Shepherd. Hill back to Shepherd. No confidence. Here's one man who's exuded confidence. Gaff towards half forward, but in front Hamlin. Took the mark, plays on to Dalhouse.
He's been a star tonight. Dalhouse, just terrific. There's Biggs. Now Pickett. Ball quickly onto Boyd. So they build again from half-back towards the wing, and Dixon's got the footy. Well, we know that bye was always going to benefit the Western Bulldogs. The unknown was, would it stop the momentum of the Eagles? And right now, Darsh, you'd have to say yes.
Yeah, they were flying, weren't they, West Coast, coming off a massive win, and it's like the Bulldogs have benefited the most from that.
How about this? Boyd from the Barras spoil, and fell into his hands. And not for the first time tonight, a very gettable opportunity for the Western Bulldogs goes begging. They're 25 points in front. Sounds strange. They could be as much as 35 or 40 points in front.
Just looking so much quicker at ground level in all parts of the game, and it's a ground level game at this point, and the Bulldogs are doing that much better.
Bellingham virtually straight up the middle. Jong taken down strongly. Cleverly by Shepherd. Giles over the top. Marston, clever U-turn. Sheed, ample time. Measures a kick. That was terrific. He was surrounded by Bulldogs, but it's taken by Darling. Looks across the ground. Breaking down towards the forward line is Hill, who'd gone back to help his defence. Well, really did nothing there. Just waited to be tackled.
That's it.
Lack conviction. Smith's got the ball, short to Liberatore, barely the 15. Liberatore finds himself inside the centre square. And the upshot of all of this, and the upside as far as the Dogs are concerned, Marcus Bontempelli could be a real factor. 4 possessions at the present time. That's too good for the Eagles to expect the last. Dixon dances out of trouble, spots a man on the outer side and goes to Hunter. Now Hunter, like Dixon before him, missed an easy one at the beginning of the game.
Guys, big news down here on the interchange. Lin Yong looks to have a shoulder complaint. He's in the hands of the doctor right now, and body language is not good.
Rocky Hunter. Can he kick this one? He's been so busy. 11 possessions. Gaff has got 16. I mentioned Bontempelli with 4. His PB is 33, and I'd suggest safe. There goes the kick, and through it goes. The rout continues. A stream of goals for the Dogs.
It's only, what, 13 days ago when we saw the Eagles were so sharp and quick, and everything about their game was just on. When they beat the Crows a couple of weeks ago, well, it's the reverse. Tonight, the Bulldogs have got the speed and the quickness about their game. They're sure with their ball handling. The Eagles are going to have to really do a U-turn very quickly to get this game back, because the Bulldogs are just well on top now.
So there's Lin Jong, and he's in tears. That's Gary Zimmerman with his arm around Lin Jong, and reading into that, you would think he's not going to take any further part in the game, which is just about the story of the year for the Bulldogs. Things go well, they suffer an injury at the worst possible time.
Look at the tackling pressure, though. Hunter again keeps the ball moving forward. McGovern on Cordy. Marston with a mop-up job to do here, and now Hearn just wobbling it out towards Shuey. Did well. Got around Liberatore. So they need some cool heads here. They need to find some targets. He looks up quickly. Hill kept running. There was a man on, but just couldn't spot him. Instead, the ball wobbled towards Darling. Hill kept going. Now LeCras, outside 50, Kennedy. Marks, Hamling right there with him, plays on quickly. Elliott Yeo, 15 metres out directly in front. And this to stop a run of 7 consecutive Western Bulldogs goals.
Few parts of the game where they've been overlapped. The positioning of the Bulldogs back half's been outstanding, just to block down the usable space. The Eagles found the holes on that occasion.
Elliott Yeo, 19 games this season. He's a very important cog in this team. 16 goals, so virtually directly in front. Well, they desperately need this one, and he's missed.
I'll tell you what, Baz, he had a similar shot. In fact, he was closer back in round 11 at Etihad Stadium, and he missed that one too. He's not a good thing around goals, good player, but
Just see Adam Simpson just sit back in the chair and suck a bit of a deep breath in, and sometimes these nights just don't unfold the way that you would expect. You can't believe that was a miss.
Bontempelli, McRae, back to Bontempelli, getting touches, dangerous sign. McRae wants to feed Bontempelli. They surrounded him. Johannisen, though, on the burst, drives it down towards half forward. Boyd from the side. Too easy for McGovern.
Had to do better there, Tom Boyd. He just had to bring that to ground. He was in really good position.
Shuey gave it to Sheed. Kicks up to the wing and Hill. Signs are better for the West Coast Eagles. Darling should mark this one. 20 metres out. Don't go. He did go. Tackle by Suckling. Got to be holding the ball. Well, he can't say he didn't hear the umpire, because the umpire was virtually standing 5 metres away.
This is a nightmare for the Eagles. That's a certain goal.
I think he wanted to give it to Kennedy. He knew Kennedy was there and thought he might have been loose on his own.
Well, the goals were there.
Yeah.
Ball outside the 50. Roughhead knocks it down. Shuey did well. Giles high up and under. In front, almost Easton Woods. Slipped away from him, though. Picked up by Darling, tries to bullock his way out. Anxious to make amends, then down he went.
It's almost indicative of the Eagles' game, isn't it? Darling takes the mark 20 metres out, says, oh, maybe I can play on. Messes it up, and that's what the Eagles' game has been.
Quite rightly, as much as anything, just shows how their thought processes have not been particularly true tonight. And now a high tackle. It's a Bulldogs ball in the bottom of all of that.
And the psychology of the game, and you see Lin Jong, you know, he knows he's done his shoulder. Very emotional time for the young fella, but the fact that the pressure has now got back onto the Eagles, because there is, you hope the play is going to go the way the odds have said, but it hasn't.
Roughhead got really high there. Priddis, Yeo, look at the tackling from the Bulldogs. Dunkley in there, and the ball over the line and just away from the play for a moment. That shot we saw on the interchange bench. It's a hard, tough game, AFL football, and look at the pain on the face of one young man playing finals football and hoping to continue to do his bit for his team, and all of a sudden incapacitated. That's what it means to these young men.
Out of contract this year, Lin Jong, he's been linked to Collingwood at various stages throughout, and you wonder what's going through that young man's mind. It was what you dream of. You want to come out, you want to play your best game in a big final. And
but how steadfast are club doctors? I mean, he's right in his ear. He's seen a lot of things, Gary Zimmerman.
Yep, Jake Landsberger on the other side. Two of the best in the business, Dan. They've been there for 30 years, the two Bulldog doctors.
They see a lot of tears, the blood and the sweat as well, but they're pillars in that situation. Ball inside the forward 50. Morris on the way down. Easton Wood didn't have the footy. Opportunity. Well, Brown went to ground. Morris got a kick. It was smothered. Came to Gaff. Marston, can he get through? Well done. Gives a hand pass to Hearn. Trying to get someone clear. Shepherd's kick was smothered. Grabbed by Morris. Little chip pass barely to 15. And McRae, who's now starting to work into this game. He's a dangerous player, McRae. Here's Hunter. Drives it down towards half forward. Bontempelli launches himself. Yo on the deck. Played it brilliantly. Coming across his path was Dixon. He's taken down. And we'll get a ball up on the outer side.
Stand up.
Guys, we came into this match talking about the Eagles' marking power. The irony's not lost on me that it's been the Bulldogs' smaller players doing all the damage.
Dunkley was the man who was tackled.
Matty Boyd with a bit of a blood raw. Took the smack in the mouth, I think, coming off to get that sorted out.
As they needed to, the Eagles have listed their intensity and the visible effort the last 5 minutes. Haven't got the result on the scoreboard, but they've started to draw a few of these contests that the Bulldogs had been winning.
You would have thought if the Bulldogs were 30 points up, 4.5 minutes out from half-time, you would have thought, Bontempelli's dominated the first half. He hasn't been cited. He's almost been their quietest player.
Oh, quite remarkable, isn't it, Dars? Everything about it. If you've just joined us, West Coast with the first 2 goals, the next 7 to the Western Bulldogs, and that's 7 in a row. What about that, Smith? Quickly the ball moved on. Oh, that was good footy by Dalhouse, but just wasn't able to bring the ball around enough.
Incredible story. Clay Smith involved in that last play. As we look at Luke Dalhouse on the screen. 3 knee reconstructions. Crossroads of his career, and he's really had an amazing season, Clay Smith.
Butler, who played in the 2006 Premiership, still out there. Johannesson hooks it around, almost for Picken, and then Hearn met him solidly. Shepherd, Barras, clearing kick.
Brown coming back on Morris. Morris almost took the mark. Easton Wood. The hands free, just suck it forward, forcing it forward the West Coast Eagles. Darling, Shuey runs on. Now he goes back. This is Gaff. Gaff picking up the slack there. Short one, Lacroix. Thought about the hand pass. Now he goes with his left peg. Not sure that's a good idea. Hill almost clutched it away. Brown, the unlikely man to break the string of goals for the Bulldogs.
His first disposal for the game, Brown, but it was an opportune time to get a kick.
First goal for the season, Lee.
Yeah, run into an open goal, and he hasn't been able to fight the ball in there. They've just started to work their way back into the game the last 5 minutes, the Eagles. Now they've got the score, the final break in day. Still only got 3 goals as we approach half-time.
He was an interesting selection, Mitch Brown, who's played his whole career as a defender. The last couple of games he's played for the Eagles have been up forward. First goal for the year. They were trying to stretch the Bulldogs, but the way this game's unfolded, they haven't been marking the ball, and it's been the Bulldogs at ground level have caused all the damage.
Been playing a lot of football in the AFL with East Perth, and he's played a lot of that football forward. We'll get that bounce again. As you saw just momentarily on the right of screen. So after 7 goals in a row, the Eagles have one back with 3.5 to play in the second term. In your wildest dreams as a Bulldog fan, you couldn't have expected this.
Well, these are big minutes now. You know, you think if you get an extra goal and you go in with that big break, your confidence surges. The Eagles get a couple back the other way, and you feel like all that hard work maybe for nothing.
Bontempelli starting to get his hands on the football more regularly. Dunkley in there, lost it to Shuey. Well done to Lysett. Heard the voice of Marston. Can feed it out to Hearn. So the West Coast Eagles are building. Kennedy, that was really well done. Knocked away cleverly by Hamling. It stayed in. Marston, back to Shannon Hearn. Deja vu. Kennedy going the other way. He's given away a free kick. And Hamling, who has been a really good player this season. Second year from Cable Beach originally. Now that is a junior football club to desire.
Not the 10 I would have expected. There's Picken towards midfield. Boyd with confidence came to the front of the pack. Well done, big fella. Alongside those centre circles. Told to play on. Drives it long. It's one-on-one football. Deep in attack. Punch forward. Marston slips it away to Butler. Butler gives it to Prentice. Over the top it goes. Oh, clever. Hutchings knocked it back. Heard the voice of Gaff. Gaff prone. Gives a hand pass across towards a teammate and Yo. Hutchings feeling it. Goes back to Yo. Fast running out of space. pace, kept his composure. Awkward centering ball, chance for a rebound opportunity for the Dogs. The big fellows combine there. Roughhead, Boyd, Biggs, pardon the pun. The ball comes across towards the wing. Mark is taken by Dalhouse. Dalhouse a hand pass. Picken looks inside the forward 50. He challenges Bontempelli. Was that in the back? Play on's the call. Well done by Hearn. Hutchings getting back quickly. Moments ago involved on the wing, and now this ball finds Wellingham at right half back.
Bontempelli spending a bit of time forward trying to get a different matchup, different look. Hutchins has been able to take him out of the game the first half and the mid part of the game.
Another mark for McGovern. He and Barras getting their hands on it a lot. Living up to the nickname the Marks Brothers. Back in defence for the West Coast Eagles. Here's Kennedy. So less than 90 seconds on the clock. And this scoreline in danger of being the West Coast Eagles' lowest score at half-time in a final at Subi. McGovern, Butler, Wellingham. This is really well done by the Dogs.
Yeah, their full ground defence has been really good. The Eagles just can't find their way through.
They've pushed up in their faces. Eastonwood got a hand on that. Important. Shuey at the back. The ball close to the line. Cordy had it knocked away. Clay Smith handballed it his way. Shuey well done. Prittis back to Shuey. Slipped the pick and tackle. Boyd so tough. Liberatore tougher. Goes in. Got it out to Cordy. And now all of this eating up valuable seconds on the clock, and importantly for the Western Bulldogs, they tie it up and earn a bounce.
That's your genuine hard contested finals ball, and no surprise that Liberatore in amongst that.
And again Liberatore, Smith, Boyd having a good term. Hooks it down towards half forward. They come from all directions. Ball falls in front. Wellingham did nicely. Butler, McGovern sends it up towards the wing, and Shuey bearing down Boyd again. Oh, we're watching him grow up, Boyd. The ball comes off the boot of Smith. It's gone out of bounds on the fall. 17 seconds remaining in the term. Only once this season have the West Coast Eagles trailed at half-time. That was late in the season against Melbourne on this ground.
That's rarely happened for the Bulldogs. One of the reasons why they are 4 goals in front. Very few times they've had intercept marks taken in defence.
High one towards the wing then. From behind, the other Boyd. And their supporters are Boyd as well. What a first half from the Dogs.
Oh, a bit going on here though, Den. Lacroix wants a piece of Liberatore. And they're coming from everywhere. I reckon there's more in this. West Coast Eagles want to get involved.
There's history between the state, I think, of Liberatore. What a combative young man he is, but what a wonderful player he is. Already won a best and fairest, then did his knee. Came back early this season, injured again, but he's very much the lifeblood of this team. He sets the agenda, and what an agenda it's been. A remarkable club. You've got to admire the way they play. Doctors out to go. So much to keep an eye on. Half-time at Domain Stadium. It's 7-6, 48 to 3-6, 24. Big upset brewing. The Western Bulldogs are playing to win.
You're watching Finals Footy on Fox. Brought to you by Ultracoon.
The Bulldogs have stunned the Eagles in the first half. They have done exactly what they needed to do on the road and have put themselves in the box seat to win this elimination final. Jace, the Eagles are just searching for answers.
Love what the Bulldogs have done, Sarah. They've worked harder, they put enormous pressure on the Eagles, and the Eagles have lacked composure at both ends of the ground. They've panicked and got no run.
Well, that's right. It's interesting. The Eagles have gone in pretty tall compared to a smaller running Bulldogs team, and the Eagles have just bombed the ball away, whereas the Bulldogs have been happy to sort of run and gun, especially with quick handball, and they've been able to get behind that web of the West Coast Eagles, and they look a lot sharper, Sellers.
Well, I think they've taken a leg out of the West Coast Eagles book. They've actually stiffened up their numbers around the ball. They're stronger in that area, and they've stiffened up their defence. And that's exactly what West Coast did the last 2 times, Adelaide and Hawthorn, to beat them. And they've actually beat them at their own game. They've got a little bit ahead of themselves, West Coast. I think they were moving on to the next final too early.
Let's head into the Ultratune lab where David King and Jared Healy are standing by. And boys, you could argue the Bulldogs could be even further in front. They wasted some good opportunities early.
Well, they did, but that's probably going to happen in a pressure final. But we said that they'll learn from round 11, and it's a mirror image of that game. The high handball, out of clearance. They're getting an enormous return out of clearance, and the West Coast have lost their game, Jared, and I think that this is coming down to coaching right now. He said the message, anything's possible, and we're seeing it, Jared.
We are, and right now the West Coast have lost their game completely going into attack. They're being forced into a high handball game. They're a high kicking side, and they're not being able to reconnect those intercept marks in the back line to Kennedy in the forward line. It's in disarray at the moment. It's a real challenge for Adam Simpson and the Eagles.
So the Dogs led by 13 points at quarter time and now 24 at half time. Luke Dalhouse is leading the charge, and Jace, Tory Dixon so accurate from the set shot.
He's been one of the few that's had composure in front of goals tonight. He's kicked a couple of goals. They desperately need him. It's been really exciting to watch what the Dogs have done in the first half.
Well, Ben Dixon is at ground level over in Perth. Dicko, what are you seeing?
Oh, the Bulldogs are taking the risks, and they probably haven't got the reward they're after. They're only 4 goals in front. They should be a mile in front, to be honest. They just look cleaner at ground level by hand and foot, and they're taking the risks. Where West Coast Eagles' initial reaction is once they got the ball, they go backwards, and that's due to the Bulldogs' pressure. And down here at ground level, the West Coast Eagles, I think, are going to come back in the second half. They'll change it up, and Adam Simpson needs to, because the Bulldogs have got a good stranglehold on it at the moment, and it's all because they've come in with the mindset of take the risks and build the pressure on the back end.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, Ben. Well, we're going to have a look now at the big 5 inclusions that Luke Beveridge rolled the dice on during the week at selection. Has that decision paid off, Jonathan?
Well, I think it's been good. Clearly, they're very good players that have come in, especially around the stoppages. Now, we can see Stringer's there. He hasn't had a lot of the footy. He's only his 5 possessions, but at least he's been lively. His work rate's been very good. He's been involved in the stoppages. I like the work of Liberatore, who has come back into the lineup. You know, McRae has had good numbers as well. We see Liberatore's goal there. So I think what we spoke about before, Sellers, was getting that pressure on at the stoppages, getting that pressure on at the source, getting the tackling pressure on and being able to win these clearances has been a real key to the Bulldogs' success in the first half.
I think Roughhead's been really good.
Yep.
Yeah, Roughhead's been terrific in there as well. So I think they've been great inclusions. They've just contributed to the rest of the guys, but there's been some enormous players in there. When you have a look at their side and you have Dalhouse, I think it's just been sensational tonight. Really, really good.
Well, if we have a look at the top 5 rankings on the ground, they are all Bulldogs. As you mentioned, Sellers, Luke Dalhouse leading the way, Hunter as well, and Liberatore, one of the ones to come in.
Yeah, they're just terrific around the ball, and they're so quick with their hands, and it's the first thought, always the first thought, and that's the way you play football, and that's where you don't have to. Everyone's in the right space, and they got so many numbers around the ball that they have a number of people to pick from to hit to. So that's where they're winning this game.
Let's check in with John Ralph in the newsroom. And Ralphie, Ling Jong, some heartbreaking scenes on the bench.
Oh, and his extraordinary reaction to what was an immediate diagnosis of what we believe would be either an AC joint crack or a broken collarbone shows you that he's done for the night. He's probably done for the season, and almost certainly he's played his last game for the Western Bulldogs. It was a fair tackle. I don't believe it was that sling tackle. Now, quite quickly he was consoled by Jacob Landsberger and Gary Zimmerman. You see these tears. The only real example I can think back to was 1999. James Hird, when he did his navicular for the second time, and he openly wept on the bench there. It was amazing. Jay Clark tells us on Super Footy tonight that Gold Coast is now the preferred bidder for him. You think he's played his last game for this football club. The good news, though, Easton Wood back from an ankle injury. Jordan Roughhead limped off with his calf injury, which he's come back from in round 22. They both seem okay. Scott Lysett lasted 6 minutes in round 23 before needing treatment. 20 minutes tonight. Not to say he's a liability, but he just keeps getting injured. They'd want him to have a very good second half to have the risk of picking him pay off.
Thanks very much, Ralphie. We have a massive second half coming up. And then tomorrow, what a treat. Finals footy on Fox continues. Ross Lyon and Paul Roos, 2 men who know what it takes to win big finals, join the Fox footy team. They will give us their insights into one of the most eagerly anticipated finals in recent memory. Finals footy on Fox. It all kicks off at 7 p.m. The Western Bulldogs have lost their last 7 at Subiaco Oval, but they've headed to Perth on a mission and so far are on track for a sensational upset win over the West Coast Eagles. They lead by 24 points at half-time, and the Eagles have plenty of questions to answer in this second half coming up. All right, it is time now to head back into the Ultra Tune Lab. David King and Jared Healy.
It's a complete replica of round 11, Jared. The handball game of the Dogs is really putting it to them. And it's out of high traffic areas where they're doing the bulk of the damage. The web set up behind it. They've got a good defensive program, the Eagles. But they're just stepping through in the midfield and putting them to the sword.
Well, you put your reputation on the line, David, and predicted this was the way for them to defeat the West Coast Eagles. It's okay to have a plan. The players have delivered, but it really was exactly what you said was their opportunity. In close, get the handball, succession of handballs, and beat the web and the Eagles' defensive structure purely and simply by a succession of handballs. But the other element is they're harder at the ball, they're tougher at the ball.
They are +7 contested possessions, but it looks like about +20 when you're watching the game. They're winning the genuine tough balls, and they're only kicking when they know they can get it over the top or they're dropping the ball in short. Have a look at this for quick hands. This has been their weapon all year. Average over 200 handballs a game. They're on track at the moment with 107 at half-time. And you can see the Eagles, they can't go with them. They really can't go with them on the spread. We thought the Dogs would struggle for leg speed on the larger ground with these 5 players coming back in, but it's been quite the opposite. Smart ball use. They bring the ball into the forward line quite well. They haven't cashed in. They haven't got full bang for their buck just yet. But you feel it coming. You feel like if they can keep this high-energy brand going, players like Dalhouse with 10 handballs, McRae with 10 handballs, Hunter's been everywhere, you just feel like they'll run them into the ground.
First 10 minutes after half-time really important because I think the Eagles just found a little taste of their own game. But early in the piece, I thought the Stringer and Schofield matchup was really reflective of where their brains are at the present time. Schofield is just spectating way too much. He's given Jake Stringer an opportunity to get himself into form. Schofield's just looking. He's just floating. He's not throwing any intensity whatsoever. And Jake just walked straight through. Should have been a goal. Then it goes to a similar position in the forward pocket. Once again, Schofield, he's on Jake Stringer and he is nowhere near him.
Spectating, isn't he?
He is totally spectating, and this is just body language, I think, reflected too many of the Eagles. And Stringer nearly pulled out one of the great goals. And this is another one where Stringer actually needs to improve. Here's an opportunity. The web set up perfectly. Good web, bad Stringer. He had to make a contest there.
He's had 5 disposals, 2 contested, but they need him bringing that ball to ground. Let's have a look at the web and a couple of the classy plays from the Dogs. I thought their ability to run through by hand we've just shown, and their smarts. They're smarts to use the ball short. And I think that when you look at if we just pause that there, you can see Barras here playing off a man. McGovern and his cohorts in the background just getting off their men 5 to 10 metres in front, really proactive. Hunter just pulls it in short. You can see here, he's drawing the numbers in. They want to go after intercept mark. We allow this vision to roll. A great block by Smith. He allows the marking player Dalhouse to get his hands on the ball. But if you pause it there, you can just see all the web players are caught off their men. Here's Barras up high, there's McGovern, and these guys are off to the races. And they're going to create a 3-on-2, a 4-on-3 in the goal square that's really going to cause chaos, Jared. And I think when you play with that proactive mindset like this back 6 do, you really have no trust in anyone else. It's all go. Look at that. 4 going up for the 1 marking opportunity. It's always going to come to ground. You've got Stringer ready to pounce. You've got the little fella in Caleb Daniel there. And eventually, someone's going to knock the ball through for you. It's a good fight by the Eagles, but they're going to be outnumbered on the edges.
And just a specific there, the quick hands of Caleb Daniel. What a young player he has become.
If they stick with that, they'll be fine, the Dogs. But we saw one example late in that quarter where they just lost their way, they lost their mode and drove the ball long. And Johannesson it was. It ended up going back for an Eagles opportunity to score. But unfortunately, we know that the Eagles player in Darley played on. This is perfect. This is what they want to do. They want a handball. They want to step through. They want to use the ball short by foot. They don't want this, Jared. This goes straight to your man, Mitch McGovern.
Yeah, this is the Eagles' method. And the Eagles will be disappointed they're not putting any pressure on. They want more of those high balls. And that one was without any pressure. And it went back the other end of the ground. Darling should have kicked a goal. It was another opportunity butchered. But we're seeing there the brilliant way that they have played there and set up this game. And anything is possible for the Bulldogs if they continue to approach it in that manner.
Outworked, out-tackled, out-planned. At this stage, the Dogs hold all the aces. Half-time couldn't have come at a better time, Sarah.
Yeah, that's right, Kingy. Adam Simpson with plenty of problems to solve, as you say, at half-time. Well, don't go anywhere. Can the Eagles turn things around? They need to drastically improve in this second half. It is all coming up. This is Finals Footy on Fox.
You're watching Finals Footy on Fox. This is West Coast and the Western Bulldogs.
Cheer until the final siren with CrownBet's points pile up. Place a head-to-head bet on any finals match in weeks 1 and 2, and you'll get 100 points for every point your team wins by. There's no limit to the points you can pile up. CrownBet, the game just changed.
Time to escape, 'cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better, and I'm going far and wide.
Great Northern Brewing Co., the beer from up here.
It's my turn to get the oranges. I'll get Willie's half-time oranges. They're so juicy, the hands get stickier. Your ball skills get better. See what I mean?
Juicy Australian-grown half-time oranges.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Play the Monopoly game at McDonald's. There's even more ways to win great prizes instantly, like $20,000 Flight Centre gift cards, Samsung home entertainment packages, free fuel for a year from BP, and you could even win a sensational Suzuki Vitara. So get into Macca's to play today for a 1 in 5 chance to win instantly.
No one warned us. One said you were going to lose both engines
unable to maintain control
at a lower altitude than any jet in history.
He's going down!
Computer simulation demonstrated that a return to LaGuardia was possible.
Not possible. This was dual engine loss with 155 souls on board.
Let's go, let's go!
No one has ever trained for an incident like that.
You're not going to make the runway. I got an A320 diving for the rivet.
No one.
Great way to improve your home is just to paint your walls. Put a lick of paint on the walls, brightens up the room, looks great. Yeah, you don't even have to spend a lot of money.
Dremel 125-watt rotary tool, only $49. Straight line kitchen, $798. 4-litre British Paints Prep 4-in-1, $54.90. Agra ceramic floor tile, just $2.90 each.
If you happen to find a lower price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%. Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Well, I took a trip way out of town. I was on that train when the sun went down. Do the bebop boogie. Let's rock it again. Do the bebop boogie on the long, long train. When I saw a gal, she was all alone. I said, come on, honey. And
supporting footballers from NAB AFL Auskick to the big time. NAB, more than money.
Quickly, McGrath looks up and a lot of Bulldogs are flooding back. Thinks about a hand pass, decides he won't give it to Sheed, kicks to half forward instead. Getting back and doing very well was Hamling. Twisting, turning, gathering the football. Oh, McRae trying to be a bit too clever by half. Sold a teammate into trouble down there. Pickin goes after him a second time. And we get a whistle, and they are a bit lucky there, the Bulldogs. It needed a precise kick. And the kick from McRae was along the ground all the way.
You have some nervous moments if you're following the Western Bulldogs. They are going to try and really be courageous. It cost them the first 2 goals of the game, but they will keep trying to do this, go through the middle.
Look at Pickett, brilliant to Boyd. Wobbles one towards the centre square. Butler had it a long time. Dalhouse found it on the ground. Hunter kept it moving forward. The Bulldogs do just that through Dixon. That's a very, very good kick. Just not quite. The mark not quite taken by Dunkley. Had a go at it. He might get it again on the ground here. Shuey though. Barras. Butler. Caught again. Just got it away to Gaff. And Gaff's ball towards the middle of the ground. Johannesson read it brilliantly. Goes long. Maybe not the best placement. Oh, Smith taken with some heavy contact, but the free kick going against Smith, Schofield's way. That was a big collision.
Almost too brave for his own good there, Clay Smith. He's done really well to bounce up, and he appears to be okay.
Not sure what the free kick against was for.
Well, that's a fault in his technique, but you can't question his courage. The Eagles just move it around in defence, looking for a way out. Butler kicks outside the defensive 50 with conviction. Darling was looking for a free, and it's been paid. I think he helped the umpire with that one, just reaching back and feeling his right ear. goes to the opposite back pocket and Schofield. Hutchings is on. Stringer trying to run with him. Hutchings asking something of Stringer, and Stringer very lazy. Mark is taken on the outer side by Hutchings. Pushing up the ground is Shuey. Going after it, Prittis. Trying to clear a path, Morris. Over the top comes Boyd. At the base of that is Darling. Holding the ball, says the umpire. So Boyd in the thick of the action. That's second term. Really something by Boyd. A lot to like.
First goal of this half. Massive here. McGovern, uncharacteristic, doesn't often drop them in defence like that. Picken, he's been in that position for most of the game, and it ends up with Marston. Shepherd started it off.
The first two entries for the Bulldogs, Baz, have been that high looping kick, and you're right, McGovern would mark that 9 times out of 10, so they have to go back to really lowering the eyes and making sure they don't concede those intercept marks.
Hutchings had a hand in there, and Kennedy kicks the ball down the line. So Josh Kennedy has been well held tonight, just the 8 disposals. 1-1. Coleman medalist for a second consecutive year. It's a good job by the Western Bulldogs keeping him quiet.
Rough it over the top. Liberatore drives it down towards half forward. McGovern trying to reach over the top. Stringer. Dalhouse, he covered some ground there. Sends it down towards full forward. Dixon, well, he was thinking about the mark, then tried to get it on the half volley, and in the end it's forced through for a behind by the West Coast Eagles. That's important. McGovern. Some ill effects. Meantime, Lacroix's got it. But a long way from his natural habitat. He's in the back pocket. He kicks. Clever kick. Hutchings in space, takes the mark. It's across the ground. Oh, well, going back was Cripps. It was knocked away by McRae. Cripps decidedly outnumbered. Dalhouse, Bontempelli, Johannesson comes down towards half forward. There seem to be dogs everywhere. Numerically, they've got the advantage just about all over the ground, it seems. They hustle. Here's Hunter. Trying to get inside the forward 50. Nice looking kick. Dunkley in that pack. Almost took it to third man in the queue. Now he's tackled by Butler. And the umpire will ball it up.
They must play a full ground zone when the opposition got the footy of the Bulldogs, and they're just their ability to push up and down the ground and make sure that the Eagles can't get through. It's just been outstanding tonight.
Threatening here, Lee, really threatening. Hearn just wobbles one out. Morris carried forward. Ends up again with Hamley, who's playing a really good game. Suckling was involved, and then the ball hammered back down towards Boyd, who got up high from the Johannesson kick. Bontempelli, Liberatore, Boyd in everything at the moment, taken head on by Barassi. Kept going. Brilliant. Smith snaps and goals. Massive for the Bulldogs. Well, absolutely enormous. First goal, second half, 4-goal lead at half-time. They soak up some time and then, most importantly, get the goal.
It's the first score, the first goal of the quarter. They've dominated the inside 50s. They're going to be hard to roll over. They're going really strongly.
Just the competing from Tom Boyd. This is where he can really take his game to another level. Did really well not to get caught holding the ball, surged it forward. Before that, he was up in the air. He brought the ball to ground, and that's all they want from the young man. And you can just see a bit of tension, a lot of tension in the West Coast Eagles coaching box.
Inadvertently, Ruffhead got a hand to it. Well, it's his stock and trade. Johannesson breaking off half back, drives it down towards the pocket. Boyd again, this time racing back. Taken off the line of the ball by Barras. Well played by the youngster. Two youngsters, really, in a battle there. Barras doing best. Here's Hutchings running out of space. Bontempelli battles with Marston, and the ball spills across the boundary line. The margin now is out to 31.
So it's a young Bulldogs team. A lot of players, I think 7 playing their first final tonight for the Bulldogs, and that is the average player experience. And the Bulldogs in this final series are far and away the most inexperienced.
Clay Smith, one of them, Darcy, kicked that last goal. Libba also playing his first final. He's been a goal scorer, so they've been very influential. Brown, well, just fell forward. He gets the footy back and then gives it away. Boyd grabs it, kicks it inside 50. Bontempelli, Barras. Look at that from Dalhouse. How good was that? Low to the ground, low centre of gravity, knocked over by Stringer. And in it will come the Bulldogs' pressure to keep the ball inside 50. Absolutely ferocious.
It's interesting, Lee. Jake Stringer, you would have to say, talent-wise, is just about the most talented player. No influence, just 5 possessions. Bontempelli, no influence either.
Yeah, no, the two really good players, but gee, the rest of them, that ground level brigade, they've just been ferocious at it.
Boyd had it momentarily. To the back of the pack, the West Coast Eagles trying to find an open man, and now it's going to be a free kick. It'll go to Bontempelli. There's no doubting the kick was there. 8 possessions for Bontempelli. They keep harping on it because he's set the bar so high. This could kick-start it.
That's what you love about Marcus Bontempelli's arsenal. If he's struggling midfield or not exerting a huge influence, he's such a dangerous forward. And you know that defenders are absolutely quaking when they're playing close to goal against Marcus Bontempelli.
The averages over a goal a game. Outstanding for a midfielder of his size, but this one is always missing to the left-hand side. But still, it increases the lead. It's out to 32 now. And the West Coast Eagles at the moment seem really worried about finding a few answers.
8-8, 10-3-6. Shannon Hearn takes matters into his own hands, or rather Burton Kennedy. Perfect. As we said, he's been quiet in the first half, well held. A long way from home here, but that was a good mark.
How often we've seen these Eagles got the ball, the Bulldogs are just blocking all the holes and just nowhere to go.
No, so Marston to a 3-on-1, and easy as you like. Dixon just gets back and takes a very cool grab. Easton Wood it was. Now Gaff forward, Butler. Schofield lost his footing. Look at Smith in there, burrowing backwards now. Dunkley with the footy backwards. Bontempelli gaining in confidence, getting more and more of the footy. Picken! What a pair of hands! Oh, terrific grab. 2-on-1, coming at him hard, and Picken stands up and marks it.
Underrated in the air, Liam Picken. Very, very capable of doing exactly that. Timed it beautifully. He's been a big factor in this game. Won a lot of one-on-ones.
6 marks he's taken tonight, and a lot of them contested in pressure situations like that one. He's kicked a goal, and this to make it very, very difficult for the West Coast Eagles. The Dogs lead by 32 points. They now lead away from home by 38.
Wow, well, that is just massive. 38-point lead. A lot of time to play in this game, but they just have got a head of steam up all of a sudden, Lee. And you can feel the confidence. Every minute of this game is just building and building.
It's like 2 weeks. And the Eagles were being the reverse. 2 weeks ago, they were outstanding, but they just haven't been able to provide the energy tonight.
It's 9 of the last 10 goals of the game, and look at the reaction from Liam Picken. Silence here at Subiaco, and they are just growing an extra leg in this game at the moment.
It was a terrific mark. It's in the genes. His dad was a beauty overhead. Taller man too. LaCroix, Hill, wide to Marston, pushing up but no one to kick to. Feeds it back. Wellingham kicks inside the forward 50. Darling surrounded, lurking behind with the judgment. Here's Morris. Made a career of it. Drives it towards the wing then. Numbers out there with the West Coast Eagles. Dixon just stood his ground. Wellingham hurt, ran into him. Now this guy is causing concern too for the West Coast Eagles. Johannesson running off half-back aggressively to Hunter inside the centre square. Hunter lobs the ball out to Dalhouse. He probably is the best man on the ground. Dalhouse looks towards the 50, decides to go the distance, sets it up to a contest in from the side. Barras, we've got a whistle, and it's going to be a free kick to the Bulldogs.
St. Courtney's the one who's going to get it. Jeremy McGovern not happy.
Okay.
He's having to argue.
That's what I paid it for. Thanks.
thought there was one off the ball. You could hear Jeremy McGovern having the discussion with the umpire. Zane Corney, no doubt his role has been all about making sure McGovern doesn't take marks, and that's a big win for him there to get a free kick.
Well, he's come in, has Cordy, to provide some size, really. Not a gifted player, but a hard-working player. And a goal here would simply be a bonus. Zane Cordy runs in over the numbers, one of the biggest kicks of his life. Hooks it badly towards the pocket, going across. Barras thumps it out of bounds, will get a throw in. But it's complete dominance at the present time. Bearing in mind the West Coast Eagles booted the first 2 goals. And credit to that man, Luke Beveridge.
They'd be really happy with Jeremy McGovern. Was a player that they just had to get under control in defence, and he has had no real influence on this game for the West Coast.
Speaking of influence, Boyd, that's Tom Boyd with only 2 disposals in this term, but he's had an influence, a real influence lead.
Yeah, he has. No, he's got the body in there. He's used the big body. He's taken a few marks, and even that goal he fed off was just outstanding.
And that was him again then. His hand down, knocked it to Roughhead in the end. He was 3rd man up. Again, he contests this time against Giles and might have got first hands to it yet again. Ball, bottom of that pack. The Eagles desperate to keep it locked in.
Yep, interesting. Sorry, Baz, the directive from the bench. Take your time having your shot at goal. Waste 30 seconds. The clock is on the Bulldogs side.
38 points the lead. Just over 10 minutes to play in the 3rd term. Smith. Daniel blazes away, but this time no accuracy and out of bounds on the full. Remember Shorty Daniels from Claremont, who played for the Western Bulldogs, or Footscray as they were at the time. Well, a new Shorty Daniel.
There's McGovern. Drives it outside the defensive 50. Kennedy launches himself. This is Brown. Marston. And the overlap, Lacroix. Biggs getting back to cover it, though. Biggs played 6 games for the Sydney Swans. He's a dasher. Sends the ball high towards half forward. Well, Johannesson backed himself. He was outmarked by Giles, but he wasn't lacking in confidence. Needed a fist. Giles has got the footy up from half back. Everything now needs to go right for the Eagles to come back and win this game. Not looking that way. Free kick for West Coast. Now Prittis, what's he trying to do there? Delayed reaction. 7-second delay. You know all about that, Baz.
Not on radio now, are we? Lysett, long ball. Nest of Eagles. Kennedy was at the back of the pack and then sat on Biggs. Hard to argue with that from the umpire. Accidental. Here's Daniel. Gets it from McRae. Feeds it back inside Easton Wood. So after some nervous moments bringing the ball out of defence, a little like that one, they've been pretty composed from about halfway through the first term, but just overkicked that time from Wood. So Kennedy to launch one. Darling's the target. Up with 3 to beat. And again, the Bulldogs defence doing what they need to do, getting it over the line.
Dunwell not almost long to the front of the goal square.
Boundary throw in. Giles and Roughhead. 4 to draw. Hutchings, quick kick around the corner, not 15. Boyd did well, ghosting across the front of the pack, gets it from Dunkley. Well, they're playing a dangerous game. That's holding the footy, surely. Hamlin goes down. He hasn't got the football now. It rolls out the back. It's a behind. Whoa.
Got out of jail there. The Bulldogs right on the last line, and I feel like that's what the Eagles need. They need just to reverse a bit of this pressure. They've got the footy in their forward half of the ground. They desperately need the next goal. Haven't kicked one. Boyd's kicked that. 18 rows out of bounds on the full.
Terrible kick.
Scotty Lysett's come from the ground. He hasn't been a factor in this contest. He wasn't moving well. I'm not sure how much more footy he'll play in this game.
Matthew Boyd bleeding from the mouth. Umpire hasn't spotted that. Gabb's got the football. Back to the fence. And the Eagles with their backs to the wall. Awkward kick for a left footer. You expect it to swing left to right. Will he allow for that? It's going that way. Slants across the front of goal. Big pack was at Hill. Hill's taken a wonderful pack mark. Really sighted. sword in that pack, or is it a free kick going against him? No, he's getting it. The umpire having a lot to say down there, but Hill confidently goes back. This is what he does generally. His ways in the team, put it that way. Needs to kick this goal. Around he comes, and he does. Easily.
It's exactly what the West Coast needed. It came from an unlikely source, hasn't had any impact at all, Josh Hill. Big pack mark, and a goal against the run of play. They're first in the second half, and with just 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter, that was effectively the best result for the West Coast Eagles.
Take them any way you can, but the big pack marks on the goal line, I don't think that's going to work all that often. It's not going to get Eagles the 7 or 8 goals you're going to need to win the game. They tend to be just doing the Hail Mary long balls in at the moment.
He kicked the goal, so it didn't matter, but probably a bit unlucky not to have been deemed to be in the square when he brought the ball to ground. Be that as it may, Shuey, Hutchings, Marston. Forward they come, the West Coast Eagles. This is better. Yo chips it towards Darling. Brilliant fist away by Hamling. Really strong body pressure. Comes to Brown. Kennedy trying to scoop it back into his area. And the ball goes over the line.
A couple of big moments for Luke Shuey there. He won the first clearance. He surged forward. Got his hands just on the footy. He really is trying to find a way to get his side back into this.
So Henderson with the football. They look dangerous when they go inside the forward 50. That's where their strength lies, the West Coast Eagles. Tom Boyd soars. Fans been waiting to hear that. Under pressure, Dalhouse to a contest. Wonderful use of the body by Hearn. Inside the centre circles, kicks towards half forward. Launching himself, Brown. In goes Boyd again, he's surrounded. Big fella taken down. And there will be a ball up about 40 metres out from goal.
Gigantic numbers, Boyd, but he's had a really good 10 or 15 minutes. He's getting after it, second effort at ground level.
He's playing with passion tonight. And that's one thing that has stood out. Now, free kick is going to put us.
Yeah, free kick was there. He just held on a little too long on the tackle, Libber.
So Prittis has got the footy. I was just going to say that Boyd picked the wrong team to play without passion in, and sometimes he just didn't seem to play hard enough. But tonight he's been inspired by his teammates. And in turn, he's inspiring them. But Prittis has got the football. What an important kick for the West Coast Eagles' 5th goal. Gee, even the best.
And Adam Simpson just can't believe what's happening. And probably the thing that Matty Prittis has always been able to do is kick long distances and get anywhere near it.
Suckling, Picken. The ball knocked out of his grasp. So it's a win of sorts for the West Coast Eagles. Last 4 inside 50s. They've got the margin to less than 5 goals. Still a big one. 6 minutes and 15 seconds remaining, and Lycett still out there battling away. Roughhead comes to the back. Daniel. McRae, Liberatore couldn't get a handle on it. Prittis does. Yo, Hutchings.
And to start hitting some bodies, start hitting some packs. And the smaller forwards, Lacroix, Hill and Cripps really need to lift when it enters that forward 50.
I'd like to see the last quarter, if they get 2 goals, just 2 more goals to get back into this game. If they're 2 goals down at three-quarter time, we've got a real game on our hands.
Jace, you know Adam Simpson well from his time at Hawthorn. What approach would have he taken at half-time?
It's interesting, you always see his demeanour. He's so calm, so relaxed. He'd be really nervous inside, Sarah, there's no doubt about that. I think he would have stripped this right back to the basics and just said, let's go hunt the footy.
OK, well, the time is now for the West Coast Eagles. They must save their season. Can they get back in it against the Western Bulldogs, who have been quite brilliant in the first half? Here is the second half action.
Log zone. Like Tom Boyd, the Bulldogs need to push on from here. Start of the second half then. Giles tried to touch it, didn't. And it's going to be a free kick. Well, that's a pretty tough call, I would have thought. It's going to Roughhead. Giles used his body but tried to tap it and just missed the footy. Suckling, anyway, drives it deeper to attack. In front, Barras, that's a great mark. And take a grab, this young man. Exciting. Gaff, as always, tidying up. A chance to kick it up towards the wing. Well-weighted kick to Lacroix. Can move it quickly. Lacroix looks up, and a lot of Bulldogs are flooding back. Thinks about a hand pass, decides he won't give it to Sheed. Kicks to half forward instead. Getting back and doing very well was handling. Twisting, turning, gathering the football. Oh, McRae trying to be a bit too clever by half. Sold a teammate into trouble down there. Picken goes after him a second time. And we get a whistle, and they are a bit lucky there, the Bulldogs. It needed a precise kick. And the kick from McRae was along the ground all the way.
You have some nervous moments if you're following the Western Bulldogs. They are going to try and really be courageous. It cost them the first 2 goals of the game, but they will keep trying to do this. Go through the middle.
Look at Picken, brilliant to Boyd. Wobbles one towards the centre square. Butler had it a long time. Dalhouse found it on the ground. Hunter kept it moving forward. And the Bulldogs do just that through Dixon. That's a very, very good kick. Just not quite. The mark not quite taken by Dunkley. Had a go at it. He might get it again on the ground here. Shuey though. Barras. Butler caught again. Just got it away to Gaff. And Gaff's ball towards the middle of the ground. Johannisen read it brilliantly. Goes long. Maybe not the best placement. Oh, Smith taken with some heavy contact, but the free kick going against Smith. Schofield's way. That was a big collision.
Almost too brave for his own good there, Clay Smith. He's done really well to bounce up, and he appears to be okay.
Not sure what the free kick against was for.
Well, that's a fault in his technique, but you can't question his courage. The Eagles just move it around in defence, looking for a way out. Butler kicks outside the defensive 50 with conviction. Darling was looking for a free, and it's been paid. I think he helped the umpire with that one, just reaching back and feeling his right ear. Now he goes to the opposite back pocket, and Schofield. Hutchings is on. Stringer trying to run with him. Hutchings asking something of Stringer, and Stringer very lazy. Mark is taken on the outer side by Hutchings. Pushing up the ground is Shuey. Going after it, Prittis. Trying to clear a path, Morris. Over the top comes Boyd. At the base of that is Darling. Holding the ball, says the umpire. So Boyd in the thick of the action. That's second term. Really something by Boyd. A lot to like.
First goal of this half. Massive here, McGovern. Uncharacteristic, doesn't often drop them in defence like that. Picken, he's been in that position for most of the game, and it ends up with Marston. Shepherd started it off.
The first 2 entries for the Bulldogs, Baz, have been that high looping kick, and you're right, McGovern would mark that 9 times out of 10, so they have to go back to really lowering the eyes and making sure they don't concede those intercept marks.
Hutchings had a hand in there, and Kennedy kicks the ball down the line. So Josh Kennedy has been well held tonight, just the 8 disposals. 1-1. Coleman medalist for a second consecutive year. It's a good job by the Western Bulldogs keeping him quiet.
Rough it over the top. Liberatore drives it down towards half forward. McGovern trying to reach over the top. Stringer. Dalhouse, he covered some ground there. Sends it down towards full forward. Dixon, well, he was thinking about the mark and tried to get it on the half volley, and in the end it's forced through for a behind by the West Coast Eagles. That's important. McGovern. It's nil effects. Meantime, Lacroix's got it. But a long way from his natural habitat. He's in the back pocket. He kicks a clever kick. Hutchings in space, takes the mark. It's across the ground. Oh, well, going back was Cripps. It was knocked away by McRae. Cripps decidedly outnumbered. Dalhouse, Bontempelli. Johannisen comes down towards half forward. There seem to be dogs everywhere. Numerically, they've got the advantage just about all over the ground, it seems. Play hustle. Here's Hunter. Try and get inside the forward 50. Nice looking kick. Dunkley in that pack. Almost took it to third man in the queue. Now he's tackled by Butler. And the umpire will ball it up.
They must play a full ground zone when the opposition got the footy of the Bulldogs, and they're just their ability to push up and down the ground and make sure that the Eagles can't get through. It's just been outstanding to me.
Threatening here, Lee, really threatening. Hearn just wobbles one out. Morris carried forward. Ends up again with Hamley, who's playing a really good game. Suckling was involved, and then the ball hammered back down towards Boyd, who got up high from the Johannesson kick. Bontempelli, Liberatore, Boyd in everything at the moment, taken head on by Barassi, kept going. Brilliant. Smith snaps and goals. Massive for the Bulldogs. Well, absolutely enormous. First goal, second half, 4-goal lead at half-time. They soak up some time and then, most importantly, get the goal.
It's the first score, the first goal of the quarter. They've dominated the inside 50s. They're going to be hard to roll over. They're going really strongly.
Just the competing from Tom Boyd. This is where he can really take his game to another level. Did really well not to get caught holding the ball, surged it forward. Before that, he was up in the air. He brought the ball to ground, and that's all they want from the young man. And you can just see a bit of tension, a lot of tension in the West Coast Eagles coaching box.
Inadvertently, Ruffy put a hand to it. Well, it's his stock and trade. Johannesson breaking off half-back, drives it down towards the pocket. Boyd again, this time racing back. Taken off the line of the ball by Barras. Well played by the youngster. Two youngsters, really, in a battle there. Barras doing best. Here's Hutchings running out of space. Bontempelli battles with Marston, and the ball spills across the boundary line. The margin now is out to 31.
So it's a young Bulldogs team. A lot of players, I think 7 playing their first final tonight for the Bulldogs, and that is the average player experience. And the Bulldogs in this final series are far and away the most inexperienced.
Clay Smith, one of them, Darcy, kicked that last goal. Libba also playing his first final. He's been a goal scorer, so they've been very influential. Brown, well, just fell forward. He gets the footy back and then gives it away. Boyd grabs it, kicks it inside 50. Bontempelli, Barras. Look at that from Dalhouse. How good was that? Low to the ground, low centre of gravity, knocked over by Stringer. And in it will come the Bulldogs' pressure to keep the ball inside 50. Absolutely ferocious.
It's interesting, Lee. Jake Stringer, you would have to say, talent-wise, is just about the most talented player. No influence, just 5 possessions. Yeah. Bontempelli, no influence either.
Yeah, no, the two really good players, but gee, the rest of them, that ground level brigade, they've just been ferocious at it.
Boyd had it momentarily. To the back of the pack, the West Coast Eagles trying to find an open man, and now it's going to be a free kick. We'll get him on a Bontempelli. There's no doubting the kick was there. 8 possessions for Bontempelli. They keep harping on it because he's set the bar so high. This good kick starting.
That's what you love about Marcus Bontempelli's arsenal. If he's struggling midfield or not exerting a huge influence, he's such a dangerous forward. And you know that defenders are absolutely quaking when they're playing close to goal against Marcus Bontempelli.
The averages over a goal a game. Outstanding for a midfielder of his size, but this one is always missing to the left-hand side. But still, it increases the lead. It's out to 32 now. And the West Coast Eagles at the moment seem really worried about finding a few answers.
8-8, 10-3-6. Shannon Hearn takes matters into his own hands, or rather Burton Kennedy. Perfect. As we said, he's been quiet in the first half, well held. A long way from home here, but that was a good mark.
How often we've seen these Eagles got the ball, the Bulldogs are just blocking all the holes and just nowhere to go.
No, so Marston to a 3-on-1, and easy as you like. Dixon just gets back and takes a very cool grab. Easton Wood it was. Now Gaff forward, Butler. Schofield lost his footing. Look at Smith in there, burrowing backwards. Now Dunkley with the footy backwards. Bontempelli gaining in confidence, getting more and more of the footy. Picken! What a pair of hands! Oh, terrific grab. 2-on-1, coming at him hard, and Picken stands up and marks it.
Underrated in the air, Liam Picken. Very, very capable of doing exactly that. Timed it beautifully. He's been a big factor in this game. Won a lot of one-on-ones.
6 marks he's taken tonight, and a lot of them contested in pressure situations like that one. He's kicked a goal, and this to make it very, very difficult for the West Coast Eagles. The Dogs lead by 32 points. They now lead away from home by 38.
Wow, well, that is just massive. 38-point lead. A lot of time to play in this game, but they just have got a head of steam up all of a sudden, Lee, and you can feel the confidence. Every minute of this game is just building and building.
It's like 2 weeks. And the Eagles were being the reverse. 2 weeks ago, they were outstanding, but they just haven't been able to provide the energy tonight.
That's 9 of the last 10 goals of the game, and look at the reaction from Liam Pickens. Silence here at Subiaco, and they are just growing an extra leg in this game at the moment.
It was a terrific mark. It's in the genes. His dad was a beauty overhead. Taller man too. LaCroix, Hill, wide to Marston, pushing up but nowhere to kick to. Feeds it back. Wellingham kicks inside the forward 50. Darling surrounded, lurking behind with the judgment. Here's Morris. Made a career of it. Drives it towards the wing then. Numbers out there with the West Coast Eagles. Dixon just stood his ground. Wellingham hurt, ran into him. Now this guy is causing concern too for the West Coast Eagles. Johannisen running off half-back aggressively to Hunter. Inside the centre square, Hunter lobs the ball out to Dalhouse. He probably is the best man on the ground. Dalhouse looks towards the 50, decides to go the distance, sets it up to a contest. In from the side, Barras. We've got a whistle, and it's going to be a free kick to the Bulldogs.
St. Courtney's the one who's going to get it. Jeremy McGovern not happy.
Okay.
He's having to argue.
That's what I paid it for. Thanks.
He thought there was one off the ball. You can hear Jeremy McGovern having the discussion with the umpire. St. Courtney, no doubt his role has been all about making sure McGovern doesn't take marks, and that's a big win for him there to get a free kick.
Well, he's come in, has Courtney, to provide some size. Really. Not a gifted player, but a hard-working player. And a goal here would simply be a bonus. Zane Courtney runs in over the numbers, one of the biggest kicks of his life. Hooks it badly towards the pocket, going across. Barras thumps it out of bounds, will get a throw in. But it's complete dominance at the present time. Bearing in mind the West Coast Eagles booted the first 2 goals. And credit to that man, Luke Beveridge.
I think they'd be really happy with Jeremy McGovern. Was a player that they just had to get under control in defence, and he has had no real influence on this game for the West Coast.
Speaking of influence, Boyd, that's Tom Boyd with only 2 disposals in this term, but he's had an influence, a real influence lead.
Yeah, he has. No, he's got the body in there. He's used the big body. He's taken a few marks, and even that goal he fed off was just outstanding.
And that was him again then. His hand down, knocked it to Roughhead in the end. He was 3rd man up. Again, he contests this time against Giles and might have got first hands to it yet again. Ball, bottom of that pack. The Eagles desperate to keep it locked in.
Interesting, sorry Baz, the directive from the bench, take your time having your shot at goal, waste 30 seconds, the clock is on the Bulldogs side.
38 points the lead, just over 10 minutes to play in the 3rd term. Smith, Daniel blazes away, but this time no accuracy and out of bounds on the full. Remember Shorty Daniels from Claremont, who played for the Western Bulldogs, or Footscray as they were at the time. Well, a new Shorty Daniel.
Here's McGovern. Drives it outside the defensive 50. Kennedy launches himself. This is Brown. Marston. And the overlap, LaCroix. Biggs getting back to cover it, though. Biggs played 6 games for the Sydney Swans. He's a dasher. Sends the ball high towards half forward. Well, Johannisen backed himself. He was outmarked by Giles, but he wasn't lacking in confidence. Needed a fist. Giles has got the footy up from half back. Everything now needs to go right for the Eagles to come back and win this game. Not looking that way. Free kick for West Coast. Now Prittis, what's he trying to do there? Delayed reaction. 7-second delay. You know all about that, Baz.
Not on radio now, are we? Lice at long ball. Nest of Eagles. Kennedy was at the back of the pack and then sat on Biggs. Hard to argue with that from the umpire. Accidental. Here's Daniel. Gets it from McRae. Feeds it back inside Easton Wood. So after some nervous moments bringing the ball out of defence, a little like that one, they've been pretty composed from about halfway through the first term, but just overkicked that time from Wood. So Kennedy to launch one. Darling's the target. Up with 3 to beat. And again, the Bulldogs defence doing what they need to do, getting it over the line.
Dunwell not almost long to the front of the goal square.
Boundary throw in. Giles and Roughhead. For a draw. Hutchings, quick kick around the corner, not 15. Boyd did well, ghosting across the front of the pack, gets it from Dunkley. Well, they're playing a dangerous game. That's holding the footy, surely. Hamling goes down. He hasn't got the football now. It rolls out the back. It's a behind. Whoa.
Got out of jail there. The Bulldogs right on the last line. And I feel like that's what the Eagles need. They need just to reverse a bit of this pressure. They've got the footy in their forward half of the ground. They desperately need the next goal. Haven't kicked one. Boyd's kicked that 18 rows out of bounds on the full.
Terrible kick.
Scotty Lycett's come from the ground. He hasn't been a factor in this contest. He wasn't moving well. I'm not sure how much more footy he'll play in this game.
Matthew Boyd bleeding from the mouth. Umpire hasn't spotted that. Gav's got the football. Back to the fence. And the Eagles with their backs to the wall. Awkward kick for a left footer. You expect it to swing left to right. Will he allow for that? It's going that way. Slants across the front of goal. Big pack was it Hill. Hill's taken a wonderful pack mark. Really sighted. Soared in that pack. Or is it a free kick going against it? No, he's getting it. The umpire having a lot to say down there, but Hill confidently goes back. This is what he does. Generally, it's ways in the team. Put it that way. Needs to kick this goal. Around he comes, and he does. Easily.
Exactly what the West Coast needed. It came from an unlikely source, hasn't had any impact at all. Josh Hill, big pack mark and a goal against the run of play. They're first in the second half, and with just 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter, that was effectively the best result for the West Coast Eagles.
Take them any way you can, but the big pack marks on the goal line, I don't think that's going to work all that often. It's not going to get Eagles to 7 or 8 goals they're going to need to win the game. They tend to be just doing the Hail Mary long balls in at the moment.
He kicked the goal, so it didn't matter, but probably a bit unlucky not to have been deemed to be in the square when he brought the ball to ground. Be that as it may, Shuey, Hutchings, Marston. Forward they come, the West Coast Eagles. This is better. Yo chips it towards Darling. Brilliant fist away by Hamling. Really strong body pressure. Comes to Brown. Kennedy trying to scoop it back into his area. And the ball goes over the line.
A couple of big moments for Luke Shuey there. He won the first clearance. He surged forward. Got his hands just on the footy. He really is trying to find a way to get his side back into this.
So Henderson with the football. They look dangerous when they go inside the forward 50. That's where their strength lies, the West Coast Eagles. Tom Boyd soars. Fans been waiting to hear that. Under pressure, Dalehouse to a contest. Wonderful use of the body by Hearn. Inside the centre circles, kicks towards half forward. Launching himself Brown. In goes Boyd again. He's surrounded. Big fella taken down. And there will be a ball up about 40 metres out from goal.
Gigantic numbers, Boyd, but he's had a really good 10 or 15 minutes. He's getting after it, second effort at ground level.
He's playing with passion tonight. And that's one thing that has stood out. Now, free kick is going to put us.
Yeah, free kick was there. He just held on a little too long on the tackle, Libber.
So Prittis has got the footy. I was just going to say that Boyd picked the wrong team to play without passion in, and sometimes he just didn't seem to play hard enough. But tonight he's been inspired by his teammates. And in turn, he's inspiring them. But Prittis has got the football. What an important kick for the West Coast Eagles' 5th goal. Gee, even the best.
And Adam Simpson just can't believe what's happening, and probably the thing that Matty Critters has always been able to do is kick long distances and get anywhere near it.
Suckling, kick in, and the ball knocked out of his grasp. So it's a win of sorts for the West Coast Eagles. Last 4 inside 50s. They've got the margin to less than 5 goals. Still a big one. 6 minutes and 15 seconds remaining, and Lycett still out there battling away. Roughhead comes to the back. Daniel, McRae, Liberatore couldn't get a handle on it. Pritis does. Yo, Hutchings, now Lycett on the 50 when he kicks. Kennedy favoured by it, couldn't mark. And Hamling worrying him all the way. Good body work by the young man. But in the end, that's a missed mark to Kennedy.
They did well there, Lee. That's the one you reckon Kennedy almost marks every time.
He hasn't done it in the context. It's been good. It's only in when Kennedy's had a bit of free access to the ball. Hamling's been really good, strong one-on-one.
Lycett lays it down. Pritis sliding. Yo in trouble. Ball up. Right full forward. So they're tightening the screw as best they can, the West Coast Eagles. Consistently in their forward 50 right now. Need some return here. Yo hurriedly on the boot. Suckling goes to meet it and knocks it across the line. Crowd having its Christmas. He stifled the ball there. That's all he could do. It was an awkward bounce in front of him. Tossed in. Lycett props. Roughhead reaches. Dalhouse dashes in. Picked up by Lycett. Followed up well. Here's Marston. The 50 meets the boundary. Under pressure. Straight to Roughhead, who's played well tonight.
One thing Adam Simpson coach sides for me always do well. They get great forward pressure. Look at that setup there. They've really pressed all their numbers down inside forward 50. Desperate to try and get a repeat inside forward 50 again here.
9 disposals, 3 marks for Jordan Roughhead. Here's Hearn. Ball keeps coming forward for the West Coast Eagles. Lacroix stepped out of danger. Cripps wanted a high tackle. No free.
Geez, they've stood up well, the Bulldogs, in those moments. I mean, close to a high tackle, but didn't give away a free kick. Let's have a look at the replay here.
Great tackle.
Yeah, terrific decision. Yeah. Dale Morris, superb. Here's Shuey. They are just gaining in a little bit of momentum here, the West Coast Eagles, but McRae belts the ball towards Boyd. Well done. Schofield coming the other way. Now Shepherd. Just behind the wing when he kicks, and Lycett. It's been a brave effort from him. Clearly incapacitated by that knee injury, the left knee, but he's battled away. Yo needs to mark. He didn't mark. Massive now for the Bulldogs. Daniel forward. Off they go and held up. The kick is on its way from Dunkley, and he kicks an important goal. Look at the coach. He cannot believe it.
It's going vintage, isn't it? Yo just couldn't quite clunk at first grab in the centre of the ground from the attacking. They have to attack. The Eagles have to kick about 8 goals from now on to get in front, so they've got to be prepared to attack and come in the middle. But when that ball inside to Yo, the possession wasn't retained. The Bulldogs were off. Hung in the air, didn't it? As soon as it hung in the air, Biggs read it well. But as soon as it was turned over around the centre square, we know there's going to be a forward getting back first.
Boyd mistimed his leap that time. Lycett did well. Hutchings played a good game, sends it down towards half forward. Touch was the call. Boyd responded quickly. Johannesson runs himself into trouble, but then kept his head, goes out to Suckling, who slides on both knees and takes the mark. West Coast need a goal before three-quarter time to pull it back under 30. Still winnable from there. Suckling drives around the outer side, reaching over the top, getting a fist on it was Darling. Getting back is Hutchings, over the shoulder. Butler run into, McGovern takes it across the line. They're a bit stiff there.
Closed the West Coast Eagles space down tonight so often, the Bulldogs. Anytime they've got it, they've run straight at them, made sure that all their possessions have been under pressure. And now you can just feel amongst this massive crowd a sense that it's an enormous task for the West Coast from here.
Boyd at close quarters. Daniels kicked the half forward. Great mark by Roughhead. Hit the ground running. Open goal. And he's put it through.
And have a look at that. Every player, the forward half the ground, gets around Roughhead, and they now have this sense of a miracle victory in a final away from home. One of the hardest grounds to win at any time, let alone a final. And it's a massive goal to Roughhead.
Mess around. The quick kick forward, he marked the ball around their 50, but no thought of going back. Play on, wheel round, open goal. 7 goals, fantastic margin.
Look at that excitement. Makeshift ruckman for much of the year. Missed round 23 with a calf injury. Only game he missed all season. And the finish there, fantastic after the brilliant mark. So the West Coast Eagles shell-shocked at home. Crowd stunned, Suckling. It was just about a mark. Boyd. Priddis. Boyd still at the bottom of that pack. Priddis has got the foot. He can't be holding the ball. Johannesson, his run-off half-back has been very important. And he got a little toe poke and there was it out of bounds on the full no over the line. So, well, Das, they're thinking about victory. They should be thinking about victory. 41 points up. They should be thinking about one of the great Bulldogs wins.
You saw the spirit after the last goal and every player on the ground getting to Roughhead, and they genuinely believe that this is their night. No doubt about that.
Suckling at the back of the pack. Sends it up towards the wing. Barras did well. Roughhead goes after it. In front of him, Butler, and the ball runs out of bounds.
I think one of the real talking points, guys, has been the Western Bulldogs have actually taken more marks inside 50 than West Coast. 8 to 7, I think the current stat is, and that's just testimony to the pressure that they're putting on all around the ground.
Roughhead is taking his seat. He's been very good. Boyd gains about 15 metres. Hearn chops it off. Shuey slides a hand pass away. Shepherd, Butler, Sheed. Now Hearn kicks to half forward, going back Lacroix. Wonderful carriage by Boyd coming up from behind. Boyd fed it out. Johannesson, a chance over the ball. Lacroix slapped away, falling to the ground. Suckling kept his head, gave it well to Hunter. Hunter, long hand pass to Bontempelli. They can go over the top again. Stringer. Still over 2 minutes remaining in the turban. Liberatore spots a man who had a break. Will it get there in time? No, Wellingham did. Punched it away. Follows up. Smith is bearing down. Got him. Affected the kick. It wanders towards the pocket. It's out of bounds on the full. Dixon, the sharpshooter, will get it.
You couldn't get it in better hands here, Dan, than this man.
No. Well, you would think if he can kick a goal here, it would be very difficult for the West Coast Eagles. It is now, but the degree of difficulty would be far greater.
What's the pass this off?
Comes around and misses to the near side.
He really didn't think his way through that, did he?
No.
Have a look at half-back. This is Matthew Boyd. The reason why he's an All-Australian this year. It was a massive one-on-one win. Went back. That was his little handball out at half-back that saved the day.
42 points is the margin. Shannon Hearn, waste no time. They haven't got any time to waste. And Kennedy, it's been rare these moments for the Coleman medalist. Again, though, a long way from home. Giles, Boyd coming the other way. Shuey, Marston. Little one through Sheed. Back to Marston, and now Yo runs at Picken, trying to bend the ball around the corner. Tough one, but well gathered by Morris. So cool. McRae, good tackle. Hill got him.
Just a couple of times been run down tonight. Jack McRae won a lot of the footy, as he always does. But just that time out of the game to 19 disposals. McRae, the Eagles desperately need a goal here before three-quarter time.
Margin is 7 goals. A minute to play in this third term. When the West Coast Eagles get one, give themselves a chance. Around the corner, not quite the kicker now. Clearing ball, bouncing out towards Shepherd. They'll get another opportunity. High ball in, and a terrific mark by Darling. What a pair of hands with 44 seconds on the clock when the mark was taken. That's the reaction from the coach.
That's what we came here expecting we'd see fairly often tonight. The big Eagles forwards being able to clunk those contested marks, but the Bulldogs defence haven't been coming to the party. They've been outstanding in the air. That's one of the few times that's happened.
He's been the most likely forward for the West Coast Eagles in the air tonight. Kennedy, not his best night. He's kicked one, could have had two, and now he does have two.
Interesting watching Luke Beveridge. He named a player in the heat of the moment, and then you look down and that player was being spoken to as well by Marcus Bontempelli.
Well, you just wonder whether that might be a moment we look back on. The Bulldogs surging forward, all the play. Dixon misses a goal he probably should have kicked, and now that just gives them a sense that this game is winnable, West Coast. It's a long way back, but that's a huge moment.
Yep.
They're going to need the crowd, aren't they? They're going to need the crowd to try and create the energy, but they've got to get that goal or two to get the home crowd buzzing. It's been very quiet here tonight. The Bulldogs have just silenced the crowd.
Well, the margin's still in the 30s, and that's important. Once it gets over 40, it just sounds a lot if you're playing footy. It is a lot. Trying to get out of there as McRae is taken down. Clock continues to run. Now it stops at 4 seconds. The Bulldogs, wonderful spirit. Dunkley knocks it down. The Eagles finish the season strongly. They should have some self-belief. It hasn't been there so far tonight. There's the siren for three-quarter time. The Bulldogs with just one premiership in their history, 1954. They had a salary cap before there was a salary cap. They're on the verge of one of their greatest wins. Stick around. They're up 75-39, three-quarter time on Thursday night.
Yeah, we're coming home. Like lonely vagabonds looking for.
So far, so good for the underdogs. Can they go on from here? The Western Bulldogs up by 36 points in three-quarter time. It's 11-9 to 5-9. The West Coast Eagles so disappointing tonight. Gaff 26, Marston 24. They're right up there, as you can see. Dalhouse has 24, but I would say the best men on the ground clearly. And Matthew Boyd in defence has been great as well. As we go down to Peter Bell.
Yeah, the Bulldogs, as you'd expect, their huddle, it's as positive, as energetic as you'd expect. And if they keep the pressure up, I don't think the West Coast Eagles can get back into this game. Adam Simpson, he would have been juggling the magnets. He would have been looking for fast play on footy, hoping for a miracle. They'll be taking the game on. This will be some open play right here. But if the Bulldogs maintain their pressure, then the victory will be theirs.
Tell what they've done is they've swung Jeremy McGovern into the forward half of the ground. So hasn't had an influence in defence, and that is the move that Adam Simpson thinks can reverse their fortune. So McGovern goes forward.
The fact is they need to mark the ball. They haven't really got the ground level forwards of any great ability, I wouldn't have thought, the Eagles. So they've got to mark the ball, so they might as well load up in the air. It's at the other end, it's all the smaller guys for the Bulldogs that are doing all the damage, not the tall, not the height.
Interesting how he fits in with Kennedy and Darling, though, isn't it? I mean, suddenly it's a different beast, that forward line. A few guys who like to take a mark, as long as they're not in the same pack. Start of the final term, 75-39. Bulldogs on top. Upset brewing. Roughhead out of the centre. Hearn plays it in front. Well stopped by Smith. Looking to paddle it out. Prittis won a hard ball. Gave it to Shepherd. Shepherd the high one. Down towards half forward. McGovern gets the arms free at the last moment. Couldn't take the mark. Daniel to Biggs. Kicks it out wide. Bontempelli's got it. On is Dixon. Picken initially. Now Dixon is covered further afield, so Picken just kicks it inside the forward 50. In front was Boyd. Falls to Smith. Fends off a would-be tackler. Well done by Dunkley. Dixon under pressure. Back to Dunkley. Over the shoulder. Bontempelli left it behind. Goes back. Tries to find it. Squirts out the back. Picked up by Liberatore. Dunkley kicks it down towards full forward. Barras launched himself. Didn't take it. Danger now. Stringer can't line up. Pull down, kicks towards full forward, floats in the air, falling to the ground down there was was Dixon. Picked up by Marston, a half chance. A very hard half chance.
Gaff now, the clearing kick. Here is McGovern. Bontempelli in front, won the free kick. Stood up, and the young champ, All-Australian, just his 13th disposal, hasn't stopped trying to become an influence. Boyd got his hands to it, couldn't hang on. Oh, we've talked about it being a night of arrival for him. That would have put the icing on the cake.
You can see where he's going as a player, can't you, Tom Boyd? He demanded the footy there, wanted it, just slipped through his fingernails.
Liberatore around the corner, Dunkley. Oh, he's kicked it. He's kicked the goal. They lead by 7 goals.
Well, to dial in the first goal of the final quarter, take it out to 42 points. It means the Eagles have got to kick 8 goals from here and restrict the Bulldogs to none. It's a massive ask. Dunkley's got a couple. And you can hear a pin drop here at Subiaco.
2 goals, Das. Only 19 years of age. This is just his 14th game. He made his debut earlier this year. What a night it's been.
Again, it was a ground level scrimmage. They've just the ability just to get in amongst the pack and come up with the footy. That's what the Bulldogs have just... That's the part of the game that the Bulldogs have been so good at.
Margin 42 points then. Prentice lost it. Goes back in and finds it. Scrapping after the football in there. Roughhead, Liberatore. Won't find a finer scrapper than Liberatore. Well, maybe Prentice, who finishes up with the ball, but it fills the stadium, those two going at it. Coming through, Suckling is taken down.
Saw that last goal of the game, the one to Dunkley, the first of this last quarter, and just sap a bit of life out of the Eagles. They looked around at each other, and for the first time tonight, there's a bit of a sense of despair amongst the West Coast.
Shuey gave it to Prentice, hooks it down towards half forward. From behind Morris, Yo didn't take possession. Cripps, Shuey, Butler just sets it up. There's plenty of tall timber down there. McGovern got his fingertips to it. Roving the pack was Kennedy, charged down by Morris. Taking it across the line was Daniel. Look at a boundary throw in. So Basil made a very good point before about this is certainly about the bye, but the bye enabled the Western Bulldogs to get players back.
It was a valuable 11-day break, wasn't it? They would have had to come back straight away to Perth had there been no bye. They lost to Fremantle on a Sunday. They would have been straight back here. Probably Sunday again. Hunter, Kennedy, Gaff, Marston got it to Prentice. He sends it back towards full forward. Lacroix back with a flight. Terrific mark. Kept his eyes on it all the way and then copped some heavy treatment accidentally in the head. Very good mark, and now 50 metres. Or maybe it wasn't accidental.
Make a certainty of it. He's probably going to kick it anyway.
Kicks the goal and gets it back to a 6-goal margin. Umpire wanted the all clear. He's got it now. Took the heavy knock.
It's clearly a long, long way back. It's amazing. You wouldn't have thought a visiting side's going to pick up 6 goals in the last quarter, but the home side can. If you can just get a goal or two and really get the crowd buzzing, it's amazing the energy that can create for the home team. The Eagles haven't been able to generate 2 or 3 consecutive goals. That's now their challenge.
Well, you're looking for courageous acts when you've had a really dirty night, and that is a great act of courage there, Mark Lacroix. Back with the flight. No regard for his own safety. Just keeps the door ajar.
McGovern into the ruck here, guys, as well.
Margin 36 points. Bell on the boundary. That ball floats outside the outer circle, so umpire Schmidt wants to do it again.
I guess the only other factor is Lynn John's been off the ground with that shoulder collarbone injury for a long time. That could be a factor.
Won by Roughhead. Prentice goes back, falling to the ground, and tiny hand pass by his lofty standards. Taken by Bontempelli. Kicks it out wide, stretching his Cordy. Oh, wonderful defence by Brown. How's that for judgment?
So Mitch Brown into defence. They're still loaded up their forward line. Light set full forward. Darling and Kennedy. McGovern in the ruck. It was a tall side that they picked here tonight, the Eagles.
McGovern involved again. Dalhouse has been so superb tonight. Dunkley, what a first final he's had. Gaff did well. Boyd coming the other way. Gives the ball to Hunter. Hunter now trying to get around on that left boot. Swings it back and around, but just offline, not by much. The West Coast Eagles have played 14 finals in Perth. They've only lost 3 of them. And their biggest losing margin in a final, the 1991 qualifying final against Hawthorn. That day they lost by 23 points. They're down by 37 points here against the Bulldogs.
Hearn, in his 200th game, drives it short of the wing. Darling couldn't hang on. Daniel, back it comes again for the Bulldogs. They're relentless. And the mark is taken by Smith.
You mentioned Mitch Brown. In the pre-game selection, you thought a runner's gone out in Jeddah and a big key position player's come in with Brown.
Hand pass to Suckling, and why not? He can kick it a long way. Hit the post. Got the fat bit.
But they could do with another runner.
Yeah.
I mean, they might need another 6 runners in all honesty. So it's not about one position, but they've just looked slow tonight, the Eagles. They've had no run and no bounce. If they had one of those on the sidelines, I think they'd like to make that decision again.
Can't blame the bye for that. Certainly can't blame the bye for selection. Here's Suckling. Bontempelli continues to work his way in. It came off the boot of Yo back to Caleb Daniel, who keeps going forward. Bontempelli into Yo, taken high.
Just the little touches from Caleb Daniel. He's just so clean with his hands. Little flick out handball to Bontempelli. Look at this, just a little flick handball. Always makes a good decision.
He's been one of their best stars, Daniel, Dalhouse as well, and I've spoken about Lockie Hunter's game.
So Bontempelli, 15 disposals for the match, 4 of them already in this 4th term, so he has worked his way to the game. Just got off the chain a little. This for a 44-point lead. In their wildest dreams, could the Bulldogs fans have imagined this? It is one of their most glorious nights of football. The Bulldogs, they keep kicking away. Look at that celebration. What a win this is.
Well, that's what great young players do. He's had a dirty night, Marcus Bontempelli, but he took the ownership on himself and went back and said, I'm going to deliver his only other shot at goal. He shanked, go back and launch one from outside 50. That's why he's a young star.
A beautiful, powerful kick. He's a midfielder at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he just plays almost like what you'd say the old-style centre forward as he matures, because he's certainly got the size to be playing as a marking ball-winning forward as well.
Boyd backhanded it down, gets it from Smith. Pressure's off, it seems. Liberatore finding space, drives it inside the forward 50. This beleaguered defence working overtime. Barras has been pretty good back there. To Gaff. Drives to the outer side. Hill in front. Has taken the mark. Hill gives it to Gaff again, demanding the football. Stretching. Prittis missed it. Coming through strongly as Wood. Off balance. Gave it to Dalhouse, to Daniel. Liberatore. He's passed the test tonight. And that's a wonderful mark by Cordy. Well, Cordy 55 metres out. Feeling it. Feeling the confidence. Goes down to the pocket. And great players can be held for just so long.
It's a great advantage he's got. So I just mentioned he's key position player size, but often if you're good enough, they can play more around the middle part of the ground until they get mature into their 20s. So Bontempelli has been getting the ball as a midfielder around the stoppages, but now he's gone forward half. 2 strings to the bow.
So often this season, he's lifted his teammates. Tonight, they've lifted him. And this one is working back, and he hits the post.
It's almost disbelief, really, isn't it? You just cannot believe the way it's unravelled. They started well enough, although their first couple of goals were gifted their way by the Western Bulldogs, but they had the first 2 on the board. They look strong. Boyd up in front. Daniel, what a night he's had. The back of the pack, it's worked to Boyd, came from Hamling, and now Dixon. Outside 50, Johannesson, his running from half-back has been superb tonight. Has not stopped, and he's been so creative.
Missed those 9 games earlier in the year with a hamstring injury. He was on fire prior to that, and back to his absolute best tonight.
Just pops it up towards the top of the square, up in front Barras. Shuey just pulled the kick. Player down was Daniel McGovern. Now Gaff. Great kick. Darling just reached for it. It never fell into his hands. Brilliantly done by Dunkley. That was superb.
He's had a nervous moment there, Jack Darling. He's such a brave player, but that is the way the night's unfolded. For Jack Darling to have a look, it almost never happens.
Dunkley's night just keeps getting better. He's had a couple of goals tonight. Daniel forward. Mark taken by Stringer. Inside 50. He's kicked just one behind tonight. This will be his 9th disposal.
So even the bravest players, Lee, just occasionally have one that they would rather take back. And
just thought about what might have been coming and just took his eyes off the footy. That's all it takes.
What about Stringer tonight?
Yeah, no real influence, Jake Stringer. He's competed the way that they want him to, but just hasn't been able to find the footy.
Well, he can make it a 51-point margin here. He's a long way from home. He kicks from about 53 metres, and the distance doesn't bother him at all.
Oh, gee, it's their night when you start dobbing those.
It's always interesting, wasn't what that a couple of weeks out of the team omitted what that would do to him coming in, but he probably really has only continued on the way he was before he actually got omitted. That he's, he hasn't been able to get involved in the game a whole lot, either offensively or defensively as either.
He's a powerful unit. He's got so much ability. All Australian last year, and his teammates have loved that.
Last time he came here against the West Coast Eagles, he did it 5. Dalhouse, aided by Daniel. We've called their names so often tonight. Here's Yo. Wellingham under pressure. They have been all night, the West Coast Eagles. Hutchings, Prittis. Once you're in the air, you're in trouble. Down he goes. That's holding the ball short. Apparently not. We'll get a ball up.
That old saying of numbers to the contest. Whenever the ball has gone to a contest, it almost had an extra Bulldogs player there at most of them.
Ruffhead did well. Hunter, Daniel again. Been ferocious, so has Dalhouse. Pushed off at that time by Hearn. Butler coming through. Quick kick down to Hutchings. Chasing McRae. Not a great kick for Kennedy. He's trying to turn Hamling inside out here. Kennedy keeps going. McRae there to assist. 2-on-1 became a 3-on-1, but they've given it back. Daniel, not a great handball. Kennedy tried to get to Butler. Picken, so good, so early. Now Dixon, Picken again, got his kick away.
Boyd's in front, hands to it, couldn't take the mark, but followed up beautifully. Applied a tackle on Wellingham. Cordy, Smith. Dalhouse was taken down. Now Smith emerges with it, his teammate, to Dixon. They've had all the answers tonight, the Dogs. Boyd launches himself, hands to it. He was quickly back there. Moments ago, he competed further up the ground, so anxious to get back and provide a target. He's done everything right tonight. Wood, Johannesson, so lively from halfback.
That's how they started the game, the Bulldogs, really biting off these aggressive kicks through the corridor. They had a couple of shockers, conceded the first 2 goals of the game, and it takes a bit of courage to keep going with it, and it's worked incredibly well.
Here's Bontempelli, another disposal in this final term, so in this quarter up to 7 now, and he's kicked a goal. Stan said you can't keep a good man down. What about?
That's the ultimate conservatism. 60 metres out and retain possession back to the wing.
Especially when it ends in a foul, basically.
24 disposals for Boyd. He's been quite superb, hasn't he? And Hunter. Hardly had a loser out there. Hunter just pops it up. It's a clever kick, and Bontempelli honours it, plays on quickly. Fitting, really, that Dalhouse gets a shot on goal here. Inside 50. He's kicked 1 already tonight. And this, it's hard to believe. It's almost unimaginable for a 57-point lead. 57.
Yes, the home team came to the ground hot favourites. The game slipped away a fair while ago, so all of a sudden the energy levels can just completely disappear.
Well, they played, Lee, like they thought, they believed they were the hottest of hot favourites. Dalhouse just wobbles away and they're behind only 52 points is that lead.
And to bring it in. The finals then starting with a resounding upset. Hamling, who's been good, thumps it back inside the 50. Getting through was Yeo, Sheed, Hutchings. Cripps really sided tonight. Kick was smothered, well done by Biggs. Hunter's up again, Biggs knocks it to his own advantage, then feeds Hunter. Good pressure from Shepherd. Boyd goes out wide, Biggs under pressure. Their give is instinctive. They've had that all season long on good days and bad. They're prepared to trust their teammate. It comes out quickly.
Before the game, we were talking about who's going to kick the Western Bulldogs goals. Well, they've had 11 individual goal kickers. Luke Beveridge would be thrilled.
So the ball from that ruck contest just wobbled its way to the back. They're not finished yet. Liberatore, he's already snapped a goal tonight. Not sure if there was a touch on that one or not, but through for a behind.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, Belly. I think it wasn't a night where they were going to rely on one player to play the game of his life. And I think tactically, everything they tried to do tonight, as Adam Simpson scratches his head, they've taken McGovern out of the game. Barras hasn't taken intercept marks. Prittis has won his normal possessions, but out the same impact he normally had. And their forward line has just been so dangerous. It's been the perfect night. It couldn't have scripted a better night for the Bulldogs.
This guy's been very good again tonight, Biggs. Plays with great confidence and dash. And so does his cohort on the other half-back flank. Cross half-back more correctly, I guess, these days. Johannesson to Cordy. Cordy has this ball in the centre square. And the game is over for the West Coast Eagles. We saw Adam Simpson moments ago. He started the night with a record of 63 and 35 since taking over. It's most impressive, but this is a stinging loss. Daniel deftly down the line there. Playing with the West Coast Eagles now, Stringer. So let's see what he can find in the arsenal from this range on this side.
Touch ball in the air. Ball it up.
So going back to take his kick.
Touched in the air, I think, in the second. Umpire has called it back.
He walked it over the line then, did he? Well, the umpire's going to ball it up.
Yeah, the umpire away from play adjudicated it was touched in flight.
Okay, I thought for a moment it was out of bounds. I saw the boundary umpire on the spot.
Schmidt throws it up. Marston. Hunter. Now it is out of bounds.
Yeah.
Got there eventually. Crowd of 42,279 tonight. Second last season for Domain Stadium, Subiaco Oval, after a long, long history. The new stadium not far away now. Not impossible that it's the last final played at Domain Stadium if there is no home final for either Perth club. And Wellingham not paid the mark there.
I think he had to hold it for a long time. Late call, the mark's been paid.
So he should have been. Liberatore up on his feet. Wellingham goes wide and, well, a little systematic tonight. That's pretty much the indication of how they played tonight.
Played in the final last year, Caleb Daniel, in his first season. A quiet night in his first final tonight. He's been incredible. 30 possessions, 11 of them contested. Just a great decision maker, Lee.
Fantastic. Yeah, a lot of them forward to centre too. He's been really dangerous in that goal scoring set-up range.
Yeah, the hurried kick out wide. It's running towards the boundary. Marston gets back. He can't keep it in. But to say, as we went out and looked at that new stadium, looks terrific, doesn't it? Quite outstanding.
It sure is.
Yeah. First things first, Subiaco Oval. A lot made of my last game at Subi. I like to think I'm in better shape than Subiaco. Down goes Sheed. Ball up.
Das, one of the players I might ask you about, he's made some mistakes, but I think he's been really promising. Tom Boyd, he's taken marks, he's won contested footy, and he's got into some really good positions tonight.
Yeah, Billy, I think it's an enormous night for him. He's a much talked about player, but I think there's enough signs there to see why he was out and out the #1 draft pick, Lee. He's a good mark, and he's pretty good with his hands and his ruck work's been strong, so big night for him.
Dunkley doing the ruck work there, second man up. He's had a great night, hasn't he?
Yeah, much of the talk about Boyd really is just how much he's getting paid. Like, he's getting paid a lot of money, but if you just put that aside, he just looks like a young key position tall who's just getting better all the time, and clearly his best will be in his 20s.
Cray bangs it him forward. Here is Boyd working on Schofield. Couldn't quite mark, got it again, and then tied it up. So he ticked all the boxes there. Dunkley we spoke about. This is just his 14th game of senior footy. Debut earlier this year, he's kicked 2 goals, and he's been very difficult for the West Coast Eagles to match up on. And there he is again, applying the tackle on Shuey. He can play tall or just that little bit short of 53 points with 6 minutes and 4 seconds remaining.
It's a big game tomorrow night. No doubt. Oh, Dalhouse. Did that boot connect? Or was it the ball? I think it was the boot. He's dazed down there, and the ball off hands and through for a minor score, but all eyes on Dalhouse. He's a tough young fella. He's on his feet. He's been a star tonight. And there's 2 sides that play tomorrow night. The loser wouldn't be looking forward to the Dogs suddenly. With their people up and about. And a daunting prospect. They're in the mood. Here's Kennedy in midfield.
Kennedy quickly plays on. There hasn't been much of this all night. Cripps chasing hard, Hamling trying to close him down. Cripps with superior speed, but was just chopped off on the 50 and comes back to Gaff. Darling going back with the flight of the ball. He wanted to have another go at it, running back with the flight. Didn't get that. Hill, Lacroix at the back pick, and Johannesson have been cool tonight. And again, they hit the target deep in defence.
Dixon pushing up the ground.
Oh, done a hamstring, has he?
Hopefully not.
They just cramp.
Yeah.
That would be no good. Well, he's coming directly off the ground. Now, this is pretty interesting. I mean, we talked about goal kickers for them. They don't have a lot. He's been good tonight. What do you think?
Looking more like cramp, but we'll wait and see. It's not ideal, is it?
No. There's an element of doubt there, that's for sure. Bontempelli, meantime, goes a revolution, got boot to ball. Smith gets back, over the top, right over the top. Hunter slips over, coming across Gaff, hasn't stopped trying. Goes to Cripps. Cripps just pops into space, and Barras. Could have been a simple mark, but he just loves jumping, this bloke. Goes out towards...
I wonder whether the Bulldogs will go with the footy in hand, given what's happened. They've lost Lin Jong. Looks like he'll be gone for the rest of the year as well. And look at Liberatore and McRae and some of those players that had massive nights tonight after a long layoff. Dixon getting a rub down. Hopefully that is just cramp. Whether you start to think about just trying to manage a couple of those players who've got through so far.
Yeah, the ones who've missed 5 or 6 weeks, they're the ones that sometimes you can be better first up than you will be next week and even the week after.
So the loser of Geelong and the Hawks, as Den said, for the Western Bulldogs next up. And despite losing Lin Jong, it's made their performance tonight really even more meritorious. Just been superb. Wellingham, 3-on-1 there. And again, Kennedy got his hands to the footy, but wasn't able to do very much with it. And Wood, the ball works out to Picken, and then Boyd.
There's Boyd, Picken, Johannesson.
I guess you can practice this so when you're 9 goals in front with 3 minutes to go, don't know whether you need to be going back and just holding possession, but practice every part of the game.
Daniel comes to Picken. The interchange gates. Everything, all the atmosphere has just gone, drained from the stadium. Johannesson.
A lot of the crowd too, Dan.
Yeah. Didn't see this coming, did they? I mean, everyone was just unanimous. I suppose it goes with the territory a bit, picking the West Coast Eagles locally, but with some conviction because their recent football has been terrific. Johannesson just fattening his stats now, comes short to Matthew Boyd.
You just can't underestimate how massive a win this is to come over here interstate against what you'd have to say is the informed team in the competition, maybe the Sydney Swans, but what West Coast have done the last 3 weeks, they win in Adelaide in round 23, one of the best wins of the year. They beat GWS at home, they beat Hawthorn over here. This is an informed team with almost every player fit minus Natanui. So to come over here and just dismantle them, Luke Beveridge, he's had an incredible night tonight.
A masterful coaching display, that's for sure, and they stuck to the plan. Despite those errors early in the game, it would have been easy for them to retreat and not take it on bringing the ball out of defence, but they didn't retreat back into their shell, and that was the most encouraging sign, wasn't it? Just terrific. Marston down the line. Good mark taken by Hamling. He's been impressive. Biggs has spilt the mark, but Suckling there to mop up. Didn't get his kick away. Holding the ball.
And guys, when you think about it too, it's twice in a week, 2 weeks, isn't it? Twice in 2 weeks they beat a Perth.
Yep. Had a really poor game against Fremantle here in round 23, and I know they spent a lot of work about their effort and their energy. One of the few games under Luke Beveridge where they really were flat, and right from the first moment this ball's bounced, their energy's been incredible.
Well, they missed one from this spot early in the game, and it was pretty important, He missed to the other side. I don't know what his range is, but it's not 25, 30 metres.
I think Adam Simpson is saying that just says it all, because he's missed 2 from about 20 metres out. Just bad ball drop.
Biggs, a high one, short of the wing. Liberatore nudged out of it. Shuey, who hasn't been a factor tonight, had a great season though, up punching it out of bounds. Well, he's had 26 possessions, but I haven't noticed him too much with that breakaway speed.
21 of those handballs, so he's a much better player when he's breaking the lines and scoring goals and getting the ball in the boot. So they've had him covered pretty well tonight as well.
McGovern and Jordan Roughead. Roughead did well, got it out in front of Hunter. Bontempelli, Caleb Daniel, Roughead again. 14 touches in this term for Daniel. Boyd competing again really well. Dalhouse lost it to Gaff. Now Hearn down the line for Shuey. Wastes no time, bangs it inside 50. Kennedy with 2 to beat again. Giving away the free kick, or is he the recipient of the free kick? Yeah, the man at the back, Johannesson. So plays on quickly, Kennedy, and he's kicked his second goal, 82 for the season.
That's the thing, isn't it, about cutthroat elimination finals? It doesn't matter how well you played last week or 10 weeks ago, it's how well you play on the night. And Bulldogs have come and played really well, and the Eagles just haven't comparatively played poorly, and that's what elimination finals is all about. You got to produce it on the night.
9 of their last 10 they'd won, Lee.
Absolutely, yeah. But it matters not, does it? It means all it gets you to is a starting point for the final 8. And clearly, the elimination, one bad game, you're out.
I'm sure the Kangaroos will be watching tonight and thinking the same thing. Go over to Adelaide. They're big underdogs. Have not had great form, but funny things happen this time of year.
Adam Simpson trying to keep a stiff upper lip, but this really stings. Good tackle by Smith on Shuey. Darcy, as we started the night talking about your familiarity with the Western Bulldogs, I mean, this is a famous victory, isn't it? It's right up there with, I would imagine, some of the best the club has ever had.
Yeah, I certainly would reiterate that, Dan. This is a massive moment for a club that's building. They've had record membership. They've got a great financial position, great leadership, and I think this is a massive moment for the club. Wherever the finals go from here, this is a famous victory.
Wonderful chemistry amongst these Bulldogs. You can sense that. They know there's something big around the corner. The injuries perhaps may deprive them this year. Although on what we've seen tonight, play them at your peril. Cordy gets a hand pass across to Pickin. Hamling could have been taken high, dragged down by Lacroix. Dying seconds of the game. Ironic, the West Coast Eagles finish up with the football because the Western Bulldogs have won a famous victory at Subiaco Oval. Bulldogs tonight. Here's Billy, eyeball to eyeball with Caleb Daniel.
It's Caleb, outstanding victory. Really the best victory in your career so far?
Oh, to win a final, mate, it's pretty exceptional, I guess. It's probably up there with the best, and I don't know, the boys are super happy, and we worked pretty hard this week, so it's good to see it come off.
2 weeks ago you came to this ground and had a loss. Clearly you put a lot of time and effort in, because from the very first bounce your pressure all over the ground was outstanding.
Yeah, well, that's finals footy. I mean, the Eagles really brought the pressure as well. That's finals footy, I guess. You really attack the contest and you really work your bum off. So I suppose the boys have done that and we got the victory, which is nice.
It's clear that you've got great spirit. You've got some really good older players, experienced players, but a good generation of young players like yourself, Luke Dalhouse as well, Hamling down back, and plenty more. Pretty exciting times at the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, the old fellas stand up in the times, and so do the young boys. So, I mean, yeah, we're all wrapped at the moment.
Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Not many people stand eye to eye with Caleb Daniel. I think Billy might just have him covered by a millimetre or two, but he reminds me a bit of Peter Bell, the way he plays, and that's a high compliment for Caleb Daniel.